It's time for All In with Paul Jolovitz. Once a month, these two aces of the airwaves take to the road and broadcast live from one of Atlantic City's beautiful casinos, giving you the insider info on all your favorite Philly sports teams.
You'll find all of the news is here.
All In with Paul Jolovitz is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB, your home on the radio dial in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties.
Enter a destination.
We now go live to All In. Here are your hosts, the pastor of the poker face, Paul Jolovitz.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the beautiful Ocean Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We have not done All In for a while. The pandemic kind of got in between. Real life got in between, but real life is back. Thank God, and we are back, and we are so excited to be here at Ocean at the Gallery Bar Book and Games Sportsbook at Ocean Casino and Resort. Gorgeous place, hustling and bustling, games on, baseball, soccer, people playing slots and all kinds of table games, and we're going to have a fun show for you. Chris Irmer is with me. My producer is going to be with me for an hour and a half. We're going to talk some sports. Ben Jones, the chairman of the board of BCWSA, who sponsors this fine program, will be here at 3:30. And Mike Quick, you know Mike Quick. He works with Merrill on WIP on the Eagle games, his 26th year. Merrill's 47th year, by the way. He will be here at 4 o'clock. So without further ado, not Freddie Adu, who was a soccer player, but further ado, I welcome my co-host and fine producer, Mr. Chris Irmer. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, Paul. Good to be with you. Nice to be here at Ocean.
It is, I mean,
beautiful.
We got neon lights 5 feet away from us and statues and 30-foot screens. This you get used to something like this, couldn't you?
Yeah, this is nice. How about those Phillies? I could get used to the win they had yesterday over the Braves.
Yep, 4-3 in Atlanta this year.
Series win.
Listen, I'm not going to put too much credence into it because the Braves are kind of on cruise control now, but they're trying to keep the top record in the National League over the Dodgers. All you can do is win and go into the playoffs. What intrigued me yesterday more than the series win, and that was good, not saying it's not, is Aaron Nola had a nice effort, first one in 4 weeks. His inconsistency, Chris, has been consistent, if you can say that, consistently inconsistent. They're going to need the Dr. Jekyll from Aaron Nola and no Mr. Hyde in the playoffs if they have a hope of going anywhere. Do you agree with that?
Yes, but I don't know, maybe you can count on him every other start because it does seem like that
doesn't work in the playoffs.
I guess not, no.
It could. I mean, anything's possible. Is you can win 16-15. They won a game 15, lost a game 15-14 in the '93 series. You can get in a slugfest every game. You don't want to get in one with the Braves, but how about the game Nick Castellanos had yesterday? 2 home runs, and I'm sure if you were watching the game, I was watching the game with millions of other people in the Delaware Valley, with Rob Thompson admittedly, with half the dugout. When he got that foul pop from Arcia and threw out Luke Williams, former Philly, at home plate, everybody's saying, don't catch that ball, don't catch that ball. No, Nick. Oh, yeah, good play, Nick. I would never have caught that ball, but it paid off for him.
I mean, that was he's lucky he got bailed out. Yeah. I mean, in the postgame, he even said something to the effect of, I was going to let it drop, and then at the last moment, something triggered in my brain.
Well, he bailed himself out to his credit. I mean, he made a nice throw. Luke Williams, former Captain America, he won a game against the Braves last year with a walk-off home run. Now, and he had stolen second, third, so we're not talking about somebody slow on the base paths, but he threw him out. Obviously got a couple runs on the big hit by Bryson Stott in the top of the 10th inning.
I mean, he made the play, but should he have let that ball drop?
Yeah.
I totally agree.
You do that 100 times, you're not going to throw him out 51. And there's a million ways to slice and dice it. If you didn't see the game, it was a foul pop-up in the medium depth right field. Clearly could have made the throw home because he did, but he had to spin before he threw it. You just don't want to take all the chances you're taking when you can let the ball drop, hope to get another out, and then hope to get the third out. But, hey, like this Phillies team in so many ways, they walked on the high wire and it didn't snap, Chris.
And the guy at third was one of their fastest players. I mean, the Braves, not only power, but speed up and down that lineup. Yep. Pretty impressive. But you talk about the Braves and the historic season they're putting together. I love this Phillies lineup as far as feeling like guys up and down can produce that. Look at Bryson Stott yesterday. Comes up so big with that base hit.
He's the best hitter to me. If I had one guy at bat, if somebody said the world survives if this guy gets a hit and it doesn't if he doesn't, Obviously, Harper's got more power. That's a given. And you got a couple other guys that do a couple other things. But he's just so consistent. He hits with 2 strikes. He can hit righties. He can hit lefties. He can spray the ball all over the field. And he's basically a rookie. I love Bryson Stott. He's getting nothing but better. You saw he poked that ball down the third base line. Phillies gotten very lucky this year, by the way. I haven't heard this once. Let's get your opinion on it. Every time the Phillies hit a ball down the line, it seems to be fair. How many balls did the Phillies hit on the right field line, on the left field chalk? It seems like maybe the gods from above are smiling on us this year. Have you gotten that?
I don't know. I think you're just forgetting all the foul balls.
Well, there's been some of those too. Zach Wheeler is going to have to lead this team into the playoffs. Pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. That's kind of the thing you don't want to say because Mets at home, Pirates on the road, and the Mets on the road to finish the year. Phillies have a magic number. I think it's 7 now to clinch the first wild card, which they have to get, Chris. They're going to make the playoffs, barring a miracle. They're 99% by every metric there is. So unless they start losing every night, you don't have to worry about that. But remember this: the third division winner, which the Phillies are not going to be a division winner, and the first wild card, they get all the first round games at home, all 3. The other 2 teams don't. Obviously, beyond that, it's who had the better record. But I want those first 3 games as a Red October at CBP, don't you?
Oh yeah, and like you said, getting lucky this year. They got extremely lucky in their postseason run last year to be able to get away with all those road games and actually get back to the Citizens Bank Park was in doubt for quite a long time. So if we can start here, get the atmosphere going, definitely advantage Phillies.
I think the mantra you have to take in the playoffs, I don't care what sport it is, and obviously you or I never played Major League sports, but you can't worry about who you play. You can't worry about where you play. Your circumstance will dictate that. There's nothing you can do to vote or ask someone or call someone. You're going to play who you're going to play. You're going to play where you're going to play. Just wake up, say, I'm ready to play today. I got to do what I have to do. And if you do that, your team should reach as high as it's supposed to reach to begin with.
Yeah, but, they are human beings. So there is some of that stuff that factors in if you've had a history with a team like the Phillies and the Braves, and the Braves hasn't played well in the postseason.
But you can't play the Braves in the first round, so you can't think about the Braves in the first round. I'll tell you right now, you're right, because human nature is human nature, and that's indisputable. But if the Phillies or any other team with their rival wake up day one of the playoffs thinking, boy, if we beat these guys, whether it's the Reds, Diamondbacks, whoever, we beat these guys, we got to get to the Braves. You're not trying to beat the Braves. You're trying to win the World Series. Can't worry about that stuff at all.
Well, I'm looking at the Phillies bullpen, and to me, there's a question mark there as to, out of modern baseball, you don't always have a traditional closer in the closer role, and you don't always have an eighth inning guy that pitches the eighth inning every day. It's about matchups and what part of the lineup is coming up. I feel like Topper is kind of rolling the dice from game to game as far as maybe he's going with matchups or with some other type of
righty, lefty, lefty, righty
concept, but it's not one that I can put my finger on as a fan to know who to expect to be coming out of the bullpen in a big situation. I mean,
that's true, and I don't think, I'll be blunt about it, I don't think he's using Jeff Hoffman in the right places. He used him in the eighth inning yesterday, and Hoffman actually was bad yesterday, so saying this today, maybe if you're one of these what happened the last 5 second type of people, you may not understand this, but Hoffman's been far and away their best reliever the last couple months. Kimbrel's clearly tired. He's got his velocity, but it looks like he's jacking it up there, and his location has suffered. Alvarado hasn't really come back to what he was last year, although he's been good. Sir Anthony has not been really good at all. Hoffman has just been a metronome. In general, Chris, when something comes up for professional manager / coach, do you worry about someone's name or someone's game more? I worry about their game more. I don't care what their name is. If you got Joe Average, who's all of a sudden become your stud, use him. I think Jeff Hoffman should at least get a shot at being a closer to see if in the postseason he'd be viable. You're not just going to stick him in there in the postseason. What do you think about that?
I almost wish they did it a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Me too.
To actually get him in that spot, see what happens in a series like against the Braves where you have a playoff atmosphere going.
Yep.
But right now, I trust in some degree the name more than the game. When it comes to postseason play, I look at the back of the baseball card, and if a guy like Kimbrel has done it his whole career, has been in big spots, has that makeup, I want to trust that guy. I think that's the way Topper is leaning, or that's the way he's been managing.
I disagree with it. I mean, I agree with it to a certain extent.
It's a mix, but the name is important.
Sure, if you have Willie Mays and Joe Average, that's one thing. But if you have somebody who's clearly over a pronounced period of time demonstrated that they believe or belong in a specific role, and the other guy is not doing that, then I would kind of slant the other way. We're at Ocean, by the way, the beautiful casino here. Get in the action this football season, the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort, where we are right now. Experience every touchdown with a panoramic view of all the games, a beverage in your hand, bet placed on your favorite team, and an atmosphere like no other.
Hey, do they have Pennsbury on Friday night? Pennsbury, CB South, here at Ocean. Be up on the big screen over there, I think.
It's hard to play a football game in a casino. There's too many obstacles, don't you think? I don't think they have high school games, but it'd be good if they did.
Yeah, it would.
You can watch, bet, eat, and drink all season long at the Gallery Sportsbook and Casino right here at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit the Ocean at visit oceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And Chris Ermer coming to Ovation Hall here at Ocean Casino Resort.
Yes.
Couple big names. October 13th, Mr. Tracy Morgan, very funny guy. November 10th, Paul Anka, who wrote the theme song for The Tonight Show, among many others. Paul Anka still going strong. November 17th and 18th, Chicago and Friends. November 25th, Sarah Brightman, A Christmas Symphony. To purchase tickets, visit theoceanac.com. All kinds of stuff to do here, huh?
Oh, yeah, this place is great.
Yep. Restaurants, and we'll tell you about those. Are you a casino guy? We've done this many times over the years. What do you do when you go to a casino? I basically play poker, and that's it.
Sometimes I'll do a little blackjack and play the slots a little bit. Mostly, I observe. I'm a looky-loo. I'm watching everybody else have fun.
Looky-loo?
Yeah, and seeing all the bells and whistles. And
casinos are kind of like boardwalks. Now, not exactly, because nobody's unhappy on a boardwalk, is one of my theories of life. You can't lose on a boardwalk. You obviously can lose in a casino. So if somebody just took a bad beat or is having a bad day, they may not look great. But generally, everybody in a casino is happy to be here, at least at the start of when they come in here. It's a great place to observe human nature, isn't it?
Everybody's got that optimism.
Yep.
Everybody's a winner here
at Ocean.
Breaking
the bank today.
Absolutely. Yep. And how about when it comes to the sports book world? Because that's the Rubicon I have not crossed over. And there's so much action anymore. FanDuel, DraftKings, down here at the Gallery. Amazing ability to look at all these different games. And are you a prop bet guy, or do you bet like the outcome, like wins and losses?
I'm an outcome kind of guy. I don't bet over-unders either, because I think they're kind of guesses. And prop bets in the Super Bowl, a couple things. But I bet to win, Chris. I bet purely to win. I'm not an action guy. 99% of gamblers are not like me.
Yeah, like when it comes to the Super Bowl, I like to make a couple prop bets. Why? Yep. Just to have a little fun, like you said, for the action element, you know.
Yeah, it is fun, and I do it at the Super Bowl, but action generally doesn't matter to me at all. I'm just a pure meat and potatoes, I want to win kind of guy. I bet games. If I like a line, I'll bet it. I don't have to bet a game to watch it. Do you have to bet? If you have some games on, Seattle and whoever, Minnesota Twins and the Mariners, or Seattle, Minnesota in any sport, do you have to bet that game to watch it? I don't. Most people do.
I mean, for me, betting the game kind of erodes my pleasure in enjoying the game, and that's why I don't do it.
That's why I don't do it.
I love sports just for the drama, the agony of defeat, and the thrill of victory, and all that stuff. So, no, I don't need any action on the game to enjoy.
All right, here's your question. The agony of defeat, the skier, that those of us over 45 or 50 years old remember on the Wild World of Sports on ABC every week, the guy had to watch himself fall off the ski jump. What was his name?
Oh, Yuri Golubchak.
What?
Yuri Golubchak.
No.
No?
Zvinko Bogataj.
Oh, so close.
Jim McKay was once at a dinner. Jim McKay, the host of Wild World of Sports, may he rest in peace, one of the great sportcasters of all time, said this man has had to endure everybody in the United States watching him fall off a ski jump every week for 30 years. Let's have a big ovation. Let's introduce him in the audience at some awards show, and the crowd went crazy. But Zvinko Bogataj.
I mean, he has felt the compassion of America through that Wide World of Sports intro.
Yep. Forever and ever and ever. All right, it's time to take a quick break now?
Yeah.
All right, going to take a quick break. Come back at Ocean Casino. We're at the Gallery Bar Book and Games Sportsbook here at Ocean. Cardinals, or rather the Angels games on one place, Brew Crew another.
Oh, hey, Paul, I know we got Mike Quick, not to interrupt you, but I can't wait to hear your take on where the Eagles are right now.
That's what we're going to come back and talk about. The Philadelphia Eagles, Thursday Night Football tonight, by the way, mentioning the sportsbook. The Giants in the Giants in San Francisco to take on the 49ers without Saquon Barkley. We're going to take you on and have some fun at Ocean Sportsbook right back after this. Stay with us, folks.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
No one in AA said to me, why would a nice young girl with such a great future drink so much? They told me about themselves, and I found out that there were a lot of other people who were just like me. They drank only because the desire to drink was stronger than anything else. They didn't say to me, if only you'd do this, you wouldn't drink. In AA, they said, welcome. Come in and sit down. We know how you feel.
Visit AA.org for more information and download the Meeting Guide app to find a meeting near you.
Hi, this is Mayor Jeff Martin of Hamilton Township, inviting you to tune in to our monthly radio show, This Month in Hamilton. Video stream live the fourth Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. at WBCB1490.com. We will be featuring various guests from Hamilton Township to keep you up to date on what's going on in Hamilton.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz. You think straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
Not a problem with me, Chris Irmer. No straight flushes, although I hope to get a lot of them at the poker table. We're here at the Gallery. It's a bar, sports book, gaming area of the Ocean Casino. Beautiful area. We're here with All In. Mike Quick joins us at 4 o'clock. Ben Jones from BCW SA at 3:30.
And everybody looking for good luck at Ocean. The injury situation on Monday Night Football has not been good luck. I'm a little nervous with the Eagles playing on Monday Night Football. Nick Chubb with the ankle and Aaron Rodgers with the Achilles.
Yeah, Nick Chubb tore his knee up. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles up. Has not been good luck thus far. Has been good luck for the Eagles. We'll tell you about that in 1 second. Yeah. We'll tell you about Amada right now. Amada is a rustic, chic, tapas-style restaurant and bar showcasing the authentic taste of Andalusia. Here at Ocean, you can also try linguine by the sea. Stunning ocean views, classic Italian cuisine with a contemporary twist. Voted best view in Casino Player magazine 2022 edition. All kinds of restaurants, all kinds of choices. We're going to see Ocean Steak tonight at 6 o'clock, Chris. Voted the best steakhouse in Casino Player magazine 2021 and 2022. Best in dining and nightlife awards each year. Ocean has it all.
This place is the best.
Yep, it sure is. You mentioned the Eagles. Phillies tonight, by the way, going to throw Ranger Suarez out against the Mets. They look to clinch. The magic number not quite low enough that they can think about that yet. But meanwhile, the Eagles, you mentioned Monday nights have been tough.
Yeah,
tough this year. Eagles Monday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a surprising 2-0. The only game in the NFL Week 3 among teams that are both 2-0 to this point. Obviously, Nick Sirianni has addressed the offense, which hasn't been in sync. The one thing I'm surprised at people's reaction for is the Eagles don't play their starters in preseason at all, save for a couple rookies, a couple plays. They don't play them at all, which indicates they don't want to take a risk. Obviously, they were lucky last year with injuries. Then they play, and they're not sharp, and everybody's like, what's wrong? The wrong is that they didn't play. I'm not expecting them to be sharp yet. I'm not sure that's the right way to go, But given the path the Eagles took, I don't think it's realistic to expect Jalen Hurts or anybody else to be at a sharpness level that you'd be happy with till week 5 or 6. It's just a pill that you're going to have to swallow. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Rome wasn't built in a day, Chris.
Yeah, but aren't other teams kind of in the same situation, and other teams look sharper?
Well, the Eagles are 2-0. I don't care what they look sharp. They're 2-0. There's no style points in football. I mean, some teams played guys, some teams didn't. The Eagles' passing game didn't work. They go to plan B, the running game. DeAndre Swift becomes the NFC Player of the Week. Rushed for 175 yards. Local kid makes good. Obviously, Jalen's thinking a little bit too much, holding the ball too long. I just think he's got to get in the flow of a new offense.
I guess if that's your preseason approach, don't have guys getting hurt. And last year, it seemed to go hand in hand, right?
Yep.
We didn't play anybody in the preseason. Everybody stayed healthy, and all the starters from game 1 were on the field in the Super Bowl. That is totally crazy as far as the likelihood that is going to happen.
Yep.
But you don't want guys going down in week 1, week 2. Avonte Maddox with a torn pec. I mean, that's a big loss, and that seems like it's going to be a season-long injury. I don't know if not playing the guys in the preseason actually relates, Well,
you're just saying the less you play, the better chance we have that you'll get through healthy. This is a game of risk. This is a game in which it's a hard-hitting game. People get hurt. There's no way to avoid it, no way at all to avoid it. You just hope it doesn't happen. That's my theory. Obviously, the less you play guys, you don't play guys in blowouts. You take them out when you need to. But people are going to get hurt in this game, and if you try to avoid injuries, to me, that's the surest way that you're going to get injuries, because you're going to play careful and different and not be free and loose out there.
I tend to agree with your point, though, that people are a little bit too critical of a team that didn't get a lot of work in the preseason. They are 2-0. You see sloppy play on the offensive side of the ball across the league pretty much. But that now you got to go 3-0. So I mean,
you got to go 3-0. Yeah, you got to beat Tampa Bay, and then they have a fairly easy schedule coming up. You would think they got that murderer's row 5-game spring in the middle of the season with the bye week in between. But they're 2-0. To me, it's did you win the game? The answer is yes. I mean, N'Kobe Dean being hurt, Reed Blankenship. Nick had a press conference today. I'm not sure if he addressed Reed Blankenship and James Bradbury, whether they're going to play next week. Well, those will be big keys. Josh Jobe probably in a cornerback if Bradbury is not, against receiver Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, pretty accomplished. I think the Eagles are going to have a tough time this week, Chris. I really do. I think everybody thinks this game's going to be easy, and when everybody thinks the game's going to be easy, it's pretty sure that I don't think it's going to be that way, because you can never take anybody for granted in this league. I think Tampa Bay defensively is pretty good. Obviously, offensively, they're Baker Mayfield. I'm not a big fan of his, but
no,
I think they're going to
I'm
struggle.
a Baker man. You're not.
You are?
Not a Baker's man?
No.
No?
No.
I just
goods,
think he
but
is.
Not Baker.
You like the bakery.
Yeah, the bakery, not the Baker.
Not Baker
not
Mayfield.
Right.
Gotcha.
He's a guy that, was very good in college. Obviously, both of these guys went to Oklahoma. They know each other very well. Jalen transferred there, but I'm sure they got to know each other. They weren't there at the exact same time. But one of the guys I'm a big fan of, and one I'm not. And the guy I'm a big fan of is Jalen Hurts. I just don't like Mayfield's attitude. He can be a good quarterback, but once he gets out of rhythm, he starts to take chances. Been with 3 or 4 teams, the number 1 pick in the draft. How about these quarterbacks? Number 1, 2, and 3 picks in the entire draft. Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, who ripped his coaching staff yesterday. Some teams having buyer's remorse here, Chris.
I mean, it goes to show what a gamble. Talk about being here at Ocean Resort.
Yep.
What a gamble the draft is, and you also how overvalued the quarterback position can be. You get, an average quarterback can be moved up to the first round just because of the value that they hold and the speculation and hope that's out there that maybe they can develop and grow into something that is like a franchise leader. But
yeah, the draft is a big crapshoot. I mean, you never know. It's an educated guess. You hope your educated guess is right. Obviously, football is a quarterback-driven sport, so quarterbacks always float toward the top. The cream rises to the top. We'll talk later about Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son, who's floating to the top already this early in the season.
You know who I like to see succeed? Bijan Robinson, a guy who was picked pretty high, and These running backs, they get devalued in the draft and they fall, and even a outstanding NCAA running back typically doesn't hold value in the NFL draft. So a guy like Bijan Robinson, when a team takes the risk, gets a position that maybe is not as valued by other I'm rooting for Bijan. And
he's taken eighth in the draft. One thing was said about Bijan Robinson this week that I don't like at all. It's just the way the life works that we live in. Bijan Robinson, somebody compared him to Barry Sanders. I don't care how good somebody is his first 2 weeks. Bijan Robinson's a fabulous running back. He can catch passes. He can block. I think he's going to be a terrific player. How terrific, whether he justifies his draft position, that's for wait to be seen later.
Ain't nobody Barry Sanders.
Yeah, you don't compare someone to Barry Sanders after 2 weeks. Do you agree or disagree in general with this statement? Somebody has to respond to adversity in some way before you really know who they are. I can tell you how much talent somebody has as they move forward in the calm seas. When that iceberg's there, whatever that might be, off the field, on the field, emotional, physical, I got to see how someone deals with that before not even thinking about Barry Sanders, but before thinking what they can be.
I mean, sometimes you see the true greats ascend, and it seems like they don't ever run into those kind of issues in their career. I mean, Tom Brady, I'm sure he'll look back on certain seasons that didn't work out that great.
He missed a year.
Well, I mean, that's an injury. I don't know if that means then you rehab and you get back and you're back on the field.
Yeah, but some guys can't do that. I mean, some guys think differently with an injury. They walk around the field differently. They're thinking, am I going to get hurt again? He got hurt week 1, 2008. It didn't seem to derail the Brady Express very much.
But prior, whether or not he had come back from that knee injury, you would have thought he was still a great quarterback.
Oh, sure.
Right. So, I mean, guys who excel at the highest level, to me, that's what is the measuring stick.
All right, going to give you a few Eagle rookies. Tell me who you're highest on right now. Obviously, Jalen Carter. It's almost unfair to include him in this question because he's been very good already. He's going to get better once he learns how to play. He's with a wonderful mentor in Fletcher Cox. Jordan Davis, his teammate at Georgia. Nakobe Dean, his first year as a starter, having a good game week 1, goes down.
Man, what a shame.
With a foot. Yeah, he's out at least 4 weeks on injured reserve.
And a compounded shame because he didn't get to play last year. I mean, that was a personnel thing.
Played 30 snaps the whole year, something like that.
So now he finally gets out there, and, it's a bummer.
Yep, and then you got Sidney Brown, who we haven't really seen at safety. Eagles been toasted in the middle of the field. Both tight ends, Hunter Henry and Hawkinson, the first 2 weeks, toasted the Eagles. I'm not really worried about their offense, Chris. Their defense they didn't play in the preseason. Their defense is, are they good enough? They are creating turnovers, not really getting the quarterback that much. It's kind of a mixed bag. What do you think about Sean Desai and his defense this early?
I don't know if I have a great read on it one way or the other at this point, Paul, but, just to get back to Jalen Carter, one of the things when, as a fan, oftentimes I'm not seeing what Jalen Carter is doing out there, and the camera will pan back to the quarterback, and unless he makes a play, a lot of times his efforts. But from what I'm hearing from more astute viewers of the game of football, they're getting a lot of push up the middle.
They're getting a lot of push up the middle. The edge rushers are the ones that have really kind of had a slow start. Josh Sweat came up with a big sack. Brandon Graham hadn't done a whole lot yet. Hassan Reddick has a bad thumb, which hurts a lot in rushing the passer, whether it's bothering him now. I was listening to Seth Joyner today talk about it. If it's bothering him, it's a reason. Otherwise, they just got to go after it. Nolan Smith, we haven't seen a lot of. The rookie from Georgia. The edge rushers got to work their way in. I think it's system-related. But I think when you have 2 new coordinators, I think there's going to be a lot of that.
I do like the results so far on the defensive side of the football. And so if that is a way to assess Sean Desai, he's doing a pretty good job. My questions are more what's going on with the offense.
Fair enough.
Got the ball movement on the ground with Swift, but
a lot of people think the Eagles have to throw the ball more. Listen, this is a passing league. You have to do what it takes to win. And last game, the Eagles weren't doing anything in the air, and it kind of came to the whole world. I tweeted it before they did it. A lot of other people did too. Let's try the grind. You got a great offensive line. You got a couple backs. Let's roll the dice and see what happens. I mean, the Eagles are fortunate, Chris. Nick Sirianni mentioned this during a presser, that they can beat you through the air. They can beat you on the ground. you have to throw in this league to win, and they're going to throw a lot. And as Jalen Hurts gets more comfortable and the offense gets more comfortable, we'll see that. But to be able to do either way is a huge blessing, isn't
but I don't think they've proven that they can beat teams through the air yet this season.
Not yet.
I don't know if teams have made some type of adjustment with how they're playing Jalen Carter. It seems like they are keeping him more contained in the pocket.
Offensively.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Well, they're keeping him contained, and they want to keep him from running, and they're trying to take away the deep stuff. They've hit Devontae twice deep last week. Excuse me. Yeah. That's what they're trying to take away, but you got to try to take away what the other team is trying to take away from you. And I think they'll be fine. Again, it's been 2 weeks. Brian Johnson was better last week than the week before. This week we'll see against a pretty decent defense. Vita Vea, killer nose tackle in the middle of this Tampa Bay defensive line. May not be quite so easy to run on him or on them. But, listen, it's going to be Brian Johnson and Sean Desai haven't proven themselves as coordinators in this league yet. They're going to have to do that, and as we speak, they're doing it as we see in practice now and over games. And until they actually do it, nobody's going to say they can. It's the way life works.
And that's the same way. That's a story with the run game. As long as it's working, they're moving the line of scrimmage. I love the advantage that they have on the offensive line with just the overall size and the quality of athletes they have out there all the way across the offensive line to
a couple Hall of Famers.
Take advantage of
you take advantage of every offensive lineman, Chris, that ever lived, every single one. I was a roommate of an offensive tackle at Penn, and he said every single one also. Maybe there's somebody somewhere that wants to be different that has.
I don't think so.
Every offensive lineman likes to run block more than they like to pass block. Because when you run block, you're acting. You're going at someone.
Right.
When you pass block, you're standing and reacting. Every offensive lineman wants to act rather than react. And so if they need to run, if they need to pass, whatever. But one question I do have that has nothing to do with the offensive line. We saw the A.J. Brown thing last week where, listen, every receiver's a diva. We'll ask Mike Quick this, obviously. He's going to deny being a diva. I'm not sure if that was the case or not back in the 80s and 90s. As much as it is now, I assume it was. I didn't know anybody particularly as we know now through social media and everything else.
I think there was some type of diva-itis that spread through the wide receivers right after the year 2000.
Randy Moss and those guys?
Yeah. T.O.
T.O.
caught it bad.
He was the prime. But did you have a problem with A.J. Brown publicly displaying that? On one level, I have no problem with it at all because I want a guy to want the ball. They're good friends. We know that he's the godfather of his son. But on the other hand, you're winning a game, and the optic is not good on the sidelines. How do you slice and dice that one?
Not good optics, but even the nature of, was that really a public display? I mean, you're on the sideline. There's cameras everywhere. Every NFL player is aware of that fact. But at the same time, you grow up letting your emotions show in high school, at the NCAA level. And, I don't see any problem with it.
I'd like to say I don't want to see it happen again when you're winning. If you're losing, that's one thing. But if you're winning, it's almost like the optic says, I'm more important than the team. I'm not thinking about the team. You're not going to have a great week every week. The great thing about having all these weapons in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and a running back that ran for $175 and your quarterback who can do it all, some weeks you're just not going to get the lion's share of whatever.
Right, but
you got to be ready to accept that.
Until that ends up festering in a way that comes out during press conferences or post-games things, then to me, I think it's just optics.
I agree with you.
If it's just optics, I'm not sweating it as a fan.
Optics can be more important than you think. You never know. I mean, yesterday, for example, when Justin Fields sat there and ripped his coaching staff and then afterwards said, well, they do a great job, blah, blah, blah. He said what he said. I don't know if you saw that.
Right.
He's off to a slow start with the Bears. Optics can be very important. Anything else around the NFL that's kind of percolating up to your head right now that you want to spit out?
The Monday night game between the Giants and the Niners, I think, is
Thursday night, tonight.
A measuring stick maybe for this Giants team.
I think they're going to get whacked. I mean, they're without Saquon. They're playing in 4 days. They're on the road. They barely came back. A big comeback against the Cardinals.
I'm still reeling from the opening week game with the Cowboys. And I don't know. I feel like
how
maybe
good are the Cowboys right now? We know they're better than the New York teams. That goes without saying. But obviously the Jets with Zach Wilson and no Aaron Rodgers. The Giants obviously played their F game. Are you worried about the Cowboys at this point? I'm not. I mean, they're good. Without question, they're good. Without question, their defense is good. And Micah Parsons looks like he's going to be great if he's not already. But I'm not worried about anything after 2 weeks. You got to do this in December, not September.
Well, and the other thing, I'm not worried about anything coming off of a Super Bowl season with high expectations. And, you know, this is a team that I feel like can beat anybody in the league. So
sure.
Until they show otherwise, I ain't afraid of the Cowboys.
I'm not afraid of anybody. I don't think the Eagles are either. And I don't care where they're rated either. If some organization wants to rank the Eagles third, I like disrespect. A lot of people don't like disrespect. I love disrespect because it motivates you to play at a level that you should be 100% to begin with. But there's that room in life that we know for you to be jacked up a little bit more. I want people to tell me I suck every day of the week because then every time I go to work, I'm going to be trying to show them that's not the case. I know it may not seem like it makes sense on one level, but I love disrespect. How do you feel about it?
Again, I think a lot of that ends up being optics, but if it gets that extra level of motivation,
why not?
Bring
right?
it. Yeah.
All right,
how about you? NFL, 2 weeks in, anything jumping out to you as far as teams, games, situations?
Well, obviously the way the Giants came back, the Commanders are 2-0. That's odd. The Bears defensive coordinator resigning yesterday is awful strange. Just hired in the offseason after 2 weeks. And Justin Fields makes the comments the same day, which I'm sure are unrelated. But there's more to this Bears story than meets the eye. I'm anxious to see when that comes out. But there's a lot of things around the NFL. I mean, the Chargers don't look like they're all that. You hear 0-2. The NFL, we're going to take a quick break and come back afterwards. But before that, the NFL, Chris, is not a marathon. The NFL is a sprint.
Oh, here's the one other story that I'm looking forward to following throughout this season, and it's already been compelling to some degree. The story with the Broncos and their head coach and some of the statements that he made in the offseason about how the guy, he ripped the previous coach pretty bad about how bad that
they played week 5.
And now, Sean Payton and the Broncos, they're not lighting it up.
Nope. They had the Hail Mary last week, but the 2-point conversion, that didn't work.
Right.
Taylor Swift is also in an NFL story. What is that? Been viral this week. We'll talk about that. More Phillies, more Eagles. Mike Quick joins us. Ben Jones from BCWSA. Flyers started training camp today. We'll talk about that. The Sixers are a mess. They're going to be a mess for a long time. We'll talk about them as well as things around the world of sports. The Ryder Cup is next week. College football, all from the beautiful sportsbook here at the Gallery at Ocean Casino. Bar, game, sportsbook, and much, much more. We'll be back with All In right after this.
Go for the pulse and the pools. Go for the hot streak and the hot tubs. Go for a relaxing massage and for wild nights with your entourage. Go to play all day and to dance all night. Go for the rooms with the ocean views that go on forever. Go for paradise with a pair of dice. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older. Party responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. Hi, Merrill Reese, voice of the Eagles, inviting you to join me and a different Eagles guest every week for Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Listen to the show on both 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM from a different Chickies and Pete's location near you. Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA every Tuesday night from 6 to 7, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, who thinks straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
All right, back to All In on WBCB from the Gallery Bar and the Sportsbook here at Ocean Casino and Resort. Get in on the action this football season at the Gallery Bar, book and games in Ocean Casino Resort, and experience every touchdown with panoramic view of all the games. This is awesome. We got a whole bunch of screens just over to our right side, the casino floor to our left, and we'd love to have you come down here and join us. We're going to be down here monthly with All In with Paul Jolovitz. Watch, bet, eat, and drink all season long at the Gallery Bar, book and games in Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. That's theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And again, here with All In, Paul Jolovitz and yours truly, kicking it around, talking sports.
Do you think people think your name is yours truly right now?
I do.
Yours truly, Mr. Chris Ermery. Yep. Great place to be. This is a beautiful casino. The pandemic put a stop to everything pretty much, but the world's opened back up every day. You got to think we're lucky to live in the world we live in. Nobody had any idea this could ever happen to us, but it shut our show down for about 4 years, and I am so happy to be back.
Well, maybe we'll get tickets to go see Paul Anka or something.
Paul Anka, who wrote 1 million theme songs.
I think he also wrote one of my mother's least favorite songs.
Really?
Having my baby is a wonderful way of saying I love you.
Yeah.
She always said that's
my baby. Yeah.
Something about that just rubbed her the wrong way.
Okay. Hadn't really thought much about that song one way or the other, but I think he did right. It was a #1 hit back in like the 70s, I think.
Yeah. Paul Anka.
Yep.
Coming to Ocean.
What's your favorites? If you could see one act, either solo act, band, comedian, one act. If somebody said front row center, don't care what it costs to get him. If he's alive, we'll put him on and bring him here. Who'd you want to see?
I don't know. I'm kind of excited the Stones are doing some new music.
They're in their 80s.
Have not been to the Rolling Stones show.
Well, people wonder how long are these, rock and roll just started in the 50s, obviously. Nobody's really gone to their 80s and 90s and beyond and retired. How long are the rock and rollers going to go? Well, the Stones were right at the beginning of the craze and still going strong. It's amazing. We've seen some, Bill Haley and the Comets and the like. The Beatles have lost a couple people. But the Stones clearly love what they're doing. It's a miracle Keith Richards is still alive.
I mean,
and he'll tell you that, too.
Do you have a ready answer for who you want to see of all the performers of all time? Or whatever
Pretty
the heck
much.
that question was?
Yeah, all time. I'd have to bring people back from the dead. But people that are alive now, I would love to see Paul McCartney solo. I was a huge Beatles fan. I am a huge Beatles fan. Obviously, all 4 Beatles aren't here. You could bring Ringo with him. I love Springsteen. Richard Pryor was one of my favorites of all time. He's not alive. I'm going to give you a comedian that you would never think of as far as this goes, but I just think is an absolutely hysterical guy. You can see him in a lot of casinos.
Tracy Morgan?
Tracy Morgan's great.
Oh, he's coming to Ocean.
He's coming to Ocean October 13th. Right. You know who Stephen Wright is?
Oh, yeah.
Total deadpan. Deadpan. But he is so funny. I like people who use thought in doing whatever they're doing. And Stephen Wright, clearly, like I have a DJ. I can never hear him when we walk under bridges, take walks together. I like thinking man's humor like that.
I bought powdered water. I don't know what to add.
Yep.
That's a good Stephen Wright.
You hear the joke and like, what? But then you think about it more and it just makes perfect sense. We're at Ocean where everything makes perfect sense. You have all kinds of options. Great restaurants. Gambling, obviously. The rooms are fantastic. My room's unbelievable, Chris. Up on the ocean, with a beautiful ocean view. Just a wonderful place this Ocean Casino has. We're pleased to be here, proud to be here. One person that's not here this weekend, not that I know of, is Taylor Swift, who has been selling out everything all over the world. I can't remember what her tour was called.
The Eras Tour.
The Eras Tour, that's
I
it.
believe. Yep.
Rumors have it that she's dating an Eagle brother. Obviously, we saw the Kelsey documentary. Did you see that, by the way?
It's Tay-Tay time on the show. No, I did not see that documentary.
If you have a chance to watch it, it's called Kelsey. It was about what he's going to do leading up to retirement.
Yeah.
He winds up continuing to play. Him and his brother Travis, but primarily on Jason on Amazon Prime. It's absolutely fantastic. Meanwhile, Travis, a little bit more the Playboy type than Jason, it looks like.
Now, was Taylor Swift on Jason's documentary?
Taylor Swift is not on Jason's documentary at all. But is Travis dating her? Jason was very coy yesterday, kind of said something that went viral. He said at the end, I was just joking, that really nobody heard. People Magazine did.
I think both Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have confirmed that the rumors are true. That they are hanging out.
Hanging out. But what does hanging out mean? That means dating to me. I've never hung out with someone that I didn't date. Once, sure. More than once, no.
Right. Okay.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so. I would say yes.
What do you do? You want to come over and stand there? You want to watch the Newlywed Game? What do you do when you hang out?
I don't know.
Go to McDonald's?
We go to the steakhouse.
Go to the steakhouse. That's a nice place to hang out.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, there's so much more going on in sports now. Before we go back to the Eagles and the Phillies, Flyers starting camp today. Obviously, having trouble recent years. Blew it up last year. Danny Briere is the GM. Keith Jones is the team president. Dan Hilferty is the CEO. Sean Couturier's back. Cam Atkinson's back. What are your goals as a Flyer fan this year? We're going to do our Flyers show. We have, by the way, the Monday Night Kickoff with me and Paul Domwich every Monday night. Tuesday this week after the Monday night game from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. We will have Gary Cobb as our guest, Dick Vermeil as our guest on October the 16th. The Flyers show on the ice will start on Wednesdays in the middle of October when the Flyers start. What are you realistically expecting from the Flyers this year? Anything?
I don't know how exactly to define this, Paul, but I need a hook back into this team. Something that I can turn to consistently.
Is that hook hope? Is that a fair question?
That could be one of them. Another hook could be tough, gritty play. Another hook could be incredible team speed. Another hook could be the great goalie play. But I need something to turn to this team and know what I'm going to get when I look at Flyers hockey. And for so many seasons, it's just I don't know what I'm looking at from game to game. And it's frustrating.
Well, let's dissect this one and kind of decompose it for a little bit and then rebuild it. Obviously, Philly's had some bad teams over the years in every sport. The most classic example for this particular question is the Sixers of recent years. The whole Sam Hinkie thing, the tanking thing, we're going to go for draft picks. It's about what you do with those draft picks, not getting them, that clearly matters. But the Sixers never really admitted to it. They were coy. It's unfair to your fans not to. Obviously, you don't want to try to sell tickets to fans who are going to have a product that's not worth watching. And the Sixers kind of did it the wrong way. They got some good players. They're a hot mess right now. Well, not so much because of the tanking. Danny Briere said, we're not tanking, we're rebuilding. You can use whatever language and verbiage you want, but they're admitting that they have hit rock bottom and are going to rebuild from scratch without expectations. I don't think anybody with the Flyers tells you they're going to be raising Lord Stanley's Cup this year or anytime in the next couple of years, barring a sheer miracle. Does honesty at the top with Dan Hilferty, Danny Briere, Jonesy, great with the fans, does honesty help in your situation?
Not so much, because as a fan, I don't ever believe that a GM is really being honest with me. And that's the nature of their job, that they are supposed to make it sound as good as possible for the fans while behind the scenes doing whatever gritty, grimy stuff they need to do to make their team better. And I believe they're doing all that gritty, grimy stuff. And but to create some, maybe it's a defense that is one of the best in the league, even if you're not scoring a lot of goals, something to, I don't know, help me define Flyers hockey again, because I used to know what it meant and what to expect. And
well, the Broad Street Bullies, the most classic example in sports, they had a nickname. I don't think Flyers fans want gritty. You have to have gritty in hockey, obviously. If you're going to win anything, you're going to have plenty of grit and plenty of players who exhibit that trait. The second thing you mentioned, team speed, that's not a thing the Flyers have shown over the years. people think Flyers think mucking and grinding in the corners. Give me somebody who can fly, a couple offensive players. You obviously have to build a team with your defense. Carter Hart leads a pretty nice goaltender core, it looks like, but you're not going to win with goaltending. That only matters when you have enough offense.
And really, as a hockey fan, I strike what I just said a moment ago about having a really
from the record, sir.
Forget about
Yes.
that, about having a really good defense, and that being something that can bring me back to this team. I want to see a Flyers team that opens things up and skates and is fast and quick and
Don't you want
moves
to see
the
just a
puck.
player, a superstar that you turn the TV on every night or go to the game or listen on the radio, somebody that you're saying, what's so-and-so going to do tonight? Obviously, the Connor Bedard in Chicago, the first pick. What's Bedard going to do tonight? Even if we're going to lose 9-1, am I going to be entertained and am I going to be awed by something he does? Maybe, maybe not. Obviously, you're not going to get that kind of kid every day, but that's the kind of what you're talking about, right?
And unfortunately for the Flyers, they don't have that guy in the pipeline. So maybe there's two good offensive players that develop some chemistry together, and it's a top line that we can get behind. But I don't know, some type of
Sean Couturier coming
something
back.
that clicks. We need it to click for the. I don't know. And also early in the season, the Flyers would have like a 10-game win streak. You know what that did to me, Paulie, Jolly, for the whole season? That messed up what I thought the team could be, what they were.
You didn't mention that was usually followed by a 54-game losing streak.
Unfortunately, they would have a 10-game win streak and then a 10-game.
It's called expectations. Yeah, expectations through the roof. Although not, they can be changed at some point. Noah Cates and obviously Wade Allison and some other kids provide a little bit of hope, but they need that superstar, and we'll see if that can come out of this year's. Cutter Gauthier, their first pick from 2 years ago. This year, Michkov is going to be in Russia for 3 years, unless they can get him back. But they're starting to get some building blocks. Not all of them will be here. And if you're the Flyer fan, you just have to have hope. They got to play for the Flyers. Have long said you play for the emblem on the front of your jersey, not the name on the back. I wish the Flyers the best of luck this year because I think there are good people running this team now. And we'll see if Danny Briere, in his rookie tenure as a GM, he's worked in hockey since he retired at many levels. Jonesy, people think, wow, how do you go from the broadcast booth to the team president? Keith Jones, I'll tell you this, Chris. I've known him for a long time. Worked with him at WIP. Been good friends with him for a while. Seen him off the beaten path, away from work many, many times. Certain people just have a sixth sense of what's right to do in certain situations. To me, Jonesy could walk into a chemical plant. They could be making monosodium flutamoctite, have a problem making it, say to Jonesy, what's our problem here? Without knowing anything about chemistry, he could look into it for 10 minutes and come up with a viable answer. That's his magic. Do you know anybody like that?
No, I don't. But I do think he's got that sense of
and a great front man with the
timing
fans. Yeah, it's all about the fans. He has the timing. The fans are like what Keith Jones is going to say. Flyers listen to Chuck Fletcher the last 4 or 5 years. People don't even know who Chuck Fletcher was. Not that he's a bad person, but he was not the front of an organization. Think Joe Banner hockey version. Jonesy can say to the fans, yeah, we're not very good right now. We got to get better. Be honest about it. Be in his own Jonesy way, the conduit that we've loved forever. So I wish the Flyers the best luck. The Sixers are not in the same boat with the dumpster fire that is the Sixers, with James Harden, with Daryl Morey, with Joel Embiid and his Twitter, or X as you call it now, or they call it now.
I think the Sixers are going to have a great season.
What do you call great?
They're going to be like maybe the 2 seed in the East.
They could be the 2 seed in the East. They have no chance of winning anything, which is all that matters. I don't think they'll be the 2 seed in the East, but they could. They got a good team, good players.
And
Nick
a good
Nurse.
Coach, right? That's the Nick Nurse factor I'm counting on.
They went from a doc to a nurse. We're the 8 millionth people to say that. I just don't think any coach on earth can put this team together. You know how much I dislike James Harden. He is my least favorite athlete that ever lived in this world and was long before he became a Sixer, because he is a narcissist. He's worried about himself. He's worried about stats. He doesn't come up. He doesn't win anything. He comes up small in big games. Sure, he comes up big once in a while. Everybody does at that level. He's a very talented player, but I just can't stand James Harden, and he's the root of everything.
See, I think it's because you can't grow a really good beard.
I've never tried to grow a really good beard. Maybe not. You might have something there, but but I doubt it.
It's the beard factor.
Well, remember Butch Beard?
Who?
Butch Beard was an NBA guard on a championship team in Golden State, 1975, that I brought up for absolutely no reason.
I do not remember Butch Beard.
Butch Beard was played with the Warriors, Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe. I think I watched him as a kid. We have no idea. Deion Sanders. I know you're not a huge college football fan. I don't want to speak for you. I never perceived you to be a huge college football fan. If you are,
yeah.
What do you get from Deion Sanders? Because a lot of people who know nothing about college football whatsoever. Now, listen, a lot of people know who Deion is because of his Hall of Fame career. He's prime time, the show that he was. But his coaching, what do you think after a couple weeks at Colorado? Because they are the big story, not just in college football, but in sports right now.
There's just always been an element of neon Deion prime time that rubs me the wrong way as a sports fan. Then he backs it all up. Everything he says, he does, and you got to respect that element of it.
What he did at Jackson State was amazing. What got him this gig?
And what has,
brought his whole
so
team with
far
him.
This season has been awesome. But I don't know. We got to take the news and regroup here at the top of the hour.
This may be the only newscast you hear in the last couple weeks. In the next couple weeks, it doesn't have Deion in it unless there's something I'm not aware of about today. But we're at the Gallery Bar Book and Sports Book here at Ocean Casino Resort. It's a great place. Come on down sometime. Ben Jones is going to join us at 3:30, the head of BCWSA, to tell us what's going on there. Mike Quick, the one and only, at 4 o'clock. Paul Jolovitz here with Chris Sermon. This is All In, and we're back with All In right after this.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Tune in Tuesdays at 9:30 for Senior Real Estate Planning with me, Christina Swain, with Opus Elite Real Estate. Thinking about making a move? Call me for a free in-home consultation where I will give you tips to help you prepare your home for the market to net the most. Check out BucksCountyBoomers.com for all your downsizing needs. 215-395-6277.
Hi, this is Chief Joe Kelly from the Yardley Borough Police, inviting you to tune in to our Bucks Blue Show right here on WBCB. The third Tuesday of every month from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll be interviewing local Bucks County police officers who make a difference in our community. Tune in to this very informative show, Bucks Blue, the third Tuesday of every month from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on 1490 AM WBCB and also at 107.3 FM.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're coming back.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, who thinks straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
I had a royal flush a couple weeks ago, Chris. Didn't win any money off it. Poker's not necessarily about what you have, but how much money you win. They used to give you a shirt. I'll be playing here at Ocean tonight.
Wait, did you lose the hand?
No, you can't lose a hand with a royal flush. It's impossible.
Right. So you won money?
I won just a little money. I bet somebody folded, and normally I don't show my hands ever. Like I said, I play poker to win only. I'm not worried about the social part. I'm not worried about the action. And I never show my hands unless it benefits me in some way. The guy said, I didn't have anything anyway. I said, well, I sort of did. And I showed, you want to always show a royal flush. I won like $12 on the hand. But it's $12 more than I had before the hand. By the way, interestingly enough, during the break, I was noticing this with this beautiful gallery, which is a nice complex with TVs and a sports book and a bar and all kinds of betting. There's these neon lights, these green lights on the steps in front of us, the entrance to the bar. There's something about neon. We're talking about Deion Sanders, so it fits perfectly. But talking about this neon stuff is great at Ocean. It's a great casino. The best I've been to in Atlantic City, and I've been to them all. I just like the way they do it here. They have a nice poker room, beautiful sports book, and a lot of action, a lot of fun. And we're going to be at the Ocean Steakhouse a little later tonight. You like this neon stuff in front of it? Something about neon does something to me. It obviously does stuff to a lot of people because when they design these things, they put a lot of money and thought into it and put this right front and center.
I like it.
You're a neon person?
I like it. My daughter's high school has put up a brand new sign, and their school colors are blue and gray. But on the sign, the highlight lighting is in the same type of neon green.
That's terrific.
And it feels like a total violation to me. Like, it should have been
what?
like their school colors.
Oh.
Like, why would you have neon green highlights on a school that's blue and gray?
That's true.
I can't figure it out.
I didn't feel bad because I never feel bad about my hometown of Bethesda, Maryland. But when the Eagles played on Minnesota last week, I had to revisit my high school for a second. Not physically, but my high school was the Vikings, the Whitman Vikings.
Yeah.
And I didn't want the Vikings. I wanted the Vikings to win every game when I was in high school, not last week. And this week, the Buccaneers. There's an ice cream place at Avalon called the Buccaneer. Are you big on names and correlation of names to different things? And it all doesn't matter, right?
Not so much, but
all right.
Maybe it'll bring you good luck.
All right, hopefully it will. Talking about Deion for a second, Chris. Big game with Oregon Saturday, 21-point underdogs. They're a great bet, by the way. Everybody want to bet? Take Colorado plus the 21. I think they're going to play very well. I don't know if they'll beat Oregon or not. Oregon's very good in the Pac-12 that's going to be deconstructed after this year down to the Pac-2 or 4, but that's something for next year. But I like Colorado, and I like their quarterback, Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur. They profiled Deion on 60 Minutes this week. It was the second time they've done it in 2 years. John Wertheim said we don't normally profile somebody twice in 2 years, but not everybody's Deion Sanders, blah, 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 blah. His son is going to be a very high pick in the NFL draft. People were saying, could he take it from Jackson State to Colorado? He hasn't had adversity yet. He hasn't played well in big games yet. He's shown a lot of talent. Is he on your radar yet, Shedeur Sanders? If I said Shedeur Sanders 3 weeks ago, would you even know who I was talking about?
No, but he's on my radar now.
Yeah.
And you're not Mel Kiper, but where do you think Shedeur Sanders would go if the NFL draft was tomorrow? Would he be a first-round pick potentially?
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, because you never know. Quarterbacks always drift to the top. You always hear Joe's going to go between 15 and 18. Draft night, he goes third, fifth. People don't want to miss that guy, and they've made some mistakes in recent years. I think Shedeur Sanders, without knowing exactly the order, we know who's bad, but we don't know who's with the trades and everything like that. I think Shedeur Sanders is a top 5 pick, and we'll see how he goes along the way. One of the things they mentioned in the 60 Minutes piece, which some people are shocked about, and I'm one of the people it's par for the course. Certain people have certain vibes they put out, and Deion Sanders puts out prime time, whatever that might mean, prime time. He's not a guy who goes small in anything he does. Obviously, he brought his whole team with him, signed 1 million transfers, wants to build a team out of nowhere quickly, whereas Matt Rule at Nebraska, recruit 900 freshmen. Just different ways to do things. Shedeur Sanders with NILs, which is a big topic in the world right now. College athletes making tons of money. Caleb Williams making $8 million at USC. Maybe won't go pro next year because he can afford to be in college. Shedeur Sanders driving around campus in a Maybach, which is a fancy Mercedes. And people go, that a college athlete? No, to me, that's par for the course for a Sanders. What about you?
Well, that may be the son of Deion Sanders has assets that maybe the average college football player can't access.
Well, I'm sure he had it before. Obviously, his father's worth a few dollars, but now he's making millions of dollars with NILs himself in the last couple of weeks. Hasn't heard at all.
Well, I find the whole NIL issue a very fascinating one, and right now, at least to me, there's an element that is unknown about these NIL deals, like Caleb Williams' deal. People are speculating it's $8 million, or do we know?
That's total. He's on a Wendy's commercial, a national Wendy's commercial.
Right.
Most of these guys are just hometown things, but he's got a national spot. Other people have national spots if they're well enough known. He won the Heisman Trophy last year. But taxation is obviously a huge problem. Who's giving what to who? Are you hiding money? Are you laundering money? But once you open that door, Chris, it's not closing. I'm sure we'll see tweaks to it. College football's transfer portal, NILs. It's a crazy world out there. I will give Deion Sanders credit for one thing this week. If you saw the game, you saw Travis Hunter, the 5-star recruit that went to a historically black college, Jackson State, last year. It was a real coup for Deion Sanders to get, and he was a fabulous player. Plays both ways, plays wide receiver and defensive back. Got crushed on a deep ball by a kid from Colorado State who now is getting death threats this week. And Deion Sanders came out and said, listen, this is a game. This is a big rivalry, heated rivalry. It may have been a hit that he wouldn't make again if he had a choice to, but he came down on the side of the kid. This is so far over and above. This is just football, guys. How did you feel about the whole death threat thing, Deion's reaction to it, and anything else about that?
I think it's ridiculous to have death threats for a play that was a bang-bang play.
He lacerated his liver. He's out a few weeks. But Henry Blackburn, listen, Deion said it might have been a dirty play. He doesn't think it was on purpose. And nobody deserves death threats for anything that goes on a football field. Simple as that.
No question.
All
Agreed.
Right. What do we have happen over here? Somebody hit a jackpot? Lee Alexander, our liaison here for WBCB, turned to his left like somebody hit $1 million jackpot. You got any information for us, Lee?
Yeah.
Something good? That's good. You can win a lot. Somebody won a lot in some way, shape, or form here at Ocean, and that's a good thing. As we're going to bring on now a guy who has historically been a wonderful friend of this show. They've sponsored us forever and ever and ever. Again, the pandemic kind of put a wedge between that, but we are back now. I want to welcome to our airwaves Mr. Ben Jones, the head of BCWSA. First of all, welcome. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you guys? Good to be back.
We're good.
Good to have you here. For anybody who doesn't know, and again, we're kind of getting back in, getting our feet wet again, explain to everybody who has no idea, what is BCWSA?
So BCWSA is a regional utility company that provides water, sanitary, and construction services in Bucks, Montgomery, and Chester counties surrounding Philadelphia.
And you guys are in the process of what now? You'd like to tell us what's new? We've got a long time in between last time and this time. What's new might take 4 hours. So if you can condense it a little bit, I know there's always good stuff going on. What's on the report card for BCWSA?
So yeah, a lot of things have changed since the pandemic, for sure.
Yeah.
At one point, our board of directors had a unsolicited offer for consideration of the sale of our company by Aqua and American water companies, and as a result of it, we went through a fiduciary responsibility to review that. It was offered at $1.2 billion for one of the companies, which was the sanitary division.
How much of that would I have gotten?
About the same as you normally get.
All right, move on.
Myself as well, incidentally. So that's what it is. But the public would have gotten $1.2 billion, and that would have been obviously beneficial, particularly for Bucks County, and rate stability that would have went with it. It came at a time when we were looking at essentially rebuilding our facilities. A lot of our facilities had been older. A number of them had been acquired and in need of significant repairs, which we've done through the years. But a significant reinvestment was going to have to occur, so it was a good time to pause. Take a look at that, take a look at the value, and make a decision. The public came out, folks weighed in, and they said they were really happy with our service. They didn't want that to change. We talked about rate stability for years with them and things of that nature and how that would benefit them, and they said, no, we're really happy about what's going on. They like the local control. They like the idea of being a regional as opposed to a national company that would run that for profit. So our board of directors passed on the sale. And as a result of that, they authorized the rebuilding of our system. So we are going through a real exciting time right now where we're making our initial investment is about $220 million. that we're investing over the next 5 years, and that's going to have substantial impact to our customers and the region. And specifically, obviously the environment's going to benefit from that as we make substantial improvements, but also we'll have the ability to make sure that economic development for our region, things like jobs, new factories, locations for housing, new hospitals, new colleges, things that are important, new homes that are important to our region.
Real life.
Yeah, real life stuff.
Yep.
And nothing happens unless we build the infrastructure in advance. So we're excited about it. Our staff is on board. Nobody left during that period of time when it was being discussed.
No one.
For the sale. Zero
employees. Lee Alexander's still here. He's with you guys.
And you know, he's beloved. All the people came out and said, we got to save Lee.
Saved everybody, apparently. One thing about you guys, Ben, is, and I know Chris wanted to ask something. I apologize, Chris. Slide this in here. You guys talk about what the customers like. They seem satisfied with the product you're providing.
Right.
Now, normally you see Jim Nance in a golf tournament, talk to the sponsor, whoever, you talk to them for a few minutes, and nobody's real interested. But this is local. This is home. You guys we're at a beautiful casino down here. You guys have something that I used to harp on all the time. You used to laugh about a little bit, about the service you can provide. When something goes wrong with your water, with your swimming pool, with your toilet, with your water pump, with whatever. I'm not a water expert or savant by any means, but I call somebody no matter what. My wife will say, call so-and-so. I press 1 for this. 3 hours later, I might have somebody that doesn't speak English on the phone. Tell everybody about the phone service you guys provide 24/7, because that's the big hook to me.
So, Jolly, you and I are a lot alike. We're old.
Yeah.
And we don't like playing with buttons.
No.
And that's a major pet peeve for me.
Yep.
So one of the things that we make sure is that we have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week coverage. It could be Christmas Eve. We have people that are working in our security SCADA system, which monitors all of our systems, takes live phone calls, okay, and they speak to a live person.
They're not going to get you, though, right?
They're not going to get me, but you know what? If it's big enough, I'll hear about it for sure.
Okay.
So in any event, and it's not been beyond me to actually go out on a major break or something of that nature and spend 24 hours in the brutal cold. But it's been a lot of years, and I'm not looking forward to doing that again. Hopefully we don't have those problems.
About those situations, about the boots he wears and slogging through this and that. And
I'm going to bring him out to those for sure. Yeah, he's definitely going to have to see that. He sees construction possibilities.
You really get somebody that can help you right then.
Yeah, and that's important. The bottom line is that they get to speak to somebody because, again, this is probably the one time that our customers are going to touch it and reach out to us. And, you know, they're panicked. I mean, they've got, you know, something backing up, or they've got a water main break that's inside their house. Could be at the meter, and it could be, you know, flooding their basement. Things that are important to them. And, again, our guys are there. We call them out. Within an hour, we're out there, and our guys are working on it and doing it. I mean, I wish I got the report cards that they get it. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Christmas Eve.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, they're out there. And again, I think that's extremely important to our customer base. They don't want to hear, well, we'll get to you when we get to you. You know, I don't want to pick on Pico, but, you know, one of the things that happens when you call into their system and you get an automated system, they say, well, we estimate that we're going to be done with it, and you get a tape, and it should be up by 3 o'clock. What they didn't tell you, it's not 3 o'clock that day. It could be 2 days from now, and they're out without service.
I'm not going to equate this to 911 because obviously that's ridiculous. Lives are more important than water, to be simple about it. But when you call 911, nobody puts you on hold. And these things are emergencies for the people that have them.
Absolutely.
Not to a life and death level. It could be, obviously, but they need service. They need things done, Chris Ermer. And BCWSA gives it to them right away.
Yeah, I want to get into the sports talk stuff.
Let's do it.
What do you think of the Eagles so far, Ben? I mean, 2-0.
I think the Eagles are amazing. I really do. I think their defense is excellent.
Really?
I do. And the reason I say that is because the reason we come from behind is that, you know, we've got a lean and mean defensive line. Let's be honest. And one of the things that goes with that is speed.
Who had to come
and
from behind?
And it wears them down. Excuse me?
We haven't come from behind yet.
We've come from behind at the end, like the last couple plays or whatever, when people are gassed. Okay. Now, when it comes to the offense, I have some concerns. I see Jalen is a little tenuous. And in the NFL, you don't get that 2-second pause to make a decision.
But
and I think he's trying to do good things. But yeah,
got a new offensive coordinator, new defense coordinator.
Yeah, it's pretty vanilla.
Nobody played in preseason,
right?
And obviously, it takes time to get a new system in to the point where you're reacting, guys, and not thinking back there. Jalen drops back. If you have to think for even a nanosecond, whatever that means, the play's not going to come like it would otherwise. It's got to be second nature.
But I expected him to pick up where he left off last season.
But he doesn't have the same coordinator, Chris. He's doing different things, slightly different this, slightly different that. I think he will in a couple weeks. If he hasn't speeded up in a couple weeks with this process, I think what you say is very fair. But I'm still giving him the mulligan. What about you, Ben?
Well, I am, but you have to wonder. I mean, obviously, he's bet a lot on this, on his contract and things of that nature.
Bet a lot in the sports book, huh?
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Good.
The bottom line is that, you have to wonder whether or not those decisions are because of an offensive coordinator that's changed the offense. Let's just get things moving. Let's be a little vanilla here, or whether or not there's some hesitancy. And again, I was one of the big believers in Jalen coming in. They said, why do we need Jalen? Well, we needed Jalen for a lot of reasons. And having Wentz there at that time, Wentz was never right after he got hurt. Fortunately, Jalen's not responded that way on the injuries that he's had. But whether or not it's this, I mean, it's a mental game. It's like golf, which I'm not very good at. I try and play a lot of it. But you know what? If you lose focus for just a nanosecond, we'll use your term, okay, then all of a sudden you have an issue.
Yeah.
And that you don't get that break. I mean, even the backs that you look at that we've had, Josh Adams, when he came on, he was amazing in Notre Dame. He still has the longest kick return in their history. And he
Josh
was
Adams?
He does. And the bottom line is he had 103 or 104 yard on his first possession. Okay, but here's the difference.
Who's Josh Adams?
I think he ran for CB South.
He did.
Oh, you're talking about a high school kid.
Well, he also went to Notre Dame, and he went to the Eagles. He got picked up by
Adams?
He did, as a backup running back about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. All
okay,
right.
but in any event, the bottom line is the offense in the College Bowl, you would wait for the play to develop, and they got a lot of kudos for that because they'd open up a hole and it's there. You don't get that in the NFL. You don't have that time.
I've been waiting to ask you this question, Ben, for months and months and months.
Well, you probably had years. It's been the pandemic.
This
right?
one has not been years, and you'll understand when I ask you. And you're a water guy. You're not a grass guy. I get that. But the two intermingle in this case. When the Eagles win the Super Bowl in Arizona last year, it goes without saying both teams. I'm not saying this is not an excuse for losing, not an excuse at all. But the turf guy, George Toma, 94 years old, the scion of turf in this country. The turf came out slippery. Eagles had to put special cleats on. The water and the grass. You got any expertise in that area at all? Why was it so slippery?
I used to cut my grass, if that counts, but I did play ball, and I can tell you that my injury actually occurred in high school.
What injury?
I actually pulled the groin muscle off my bone on the field, and the reality of the situation is it was because of a wet turf and natural turf condition, and there wasn't a lot of artificial turf back then. There was only one stadium that we played in that actually had it, and that was concrete basically when you fell. But there is a lot to be said for losing traction in natural turf, and I think the condition of that field was deplorable.
All right, well, you've heard it from Ben Jones, who's a
Who
huge
means
Eagle
nothing,
fan.
yes.
No, who's got a point of view just like everybody else does. We're going to talk to Ben about what he thinks is going to happen with the Eagles, hot points, not so hot points. Mike Quick's going to join us in a few minutes. I'm here with Chris Sermer. I'm Paul Jolovitz. This is All In. We're going to take a break, pay for some bills, and admire this stunning gallery, sportsbook, and bar complex here at Ocean Casino Resort. Come on down here. You'll be very happy you did. We're back right after this.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Tune in Tuesdays at 9:30 for Senior Real Estate Planning with me, Christina Swain, with Opus Elite Real Estate. Thinking about making a move? Call me for a free in-home consultation where I will give you tips to help you prepare your home for the market to net the most. Check out buckscountyboomers.com for all your downsizing needs. 215-395-6277.
Hi, this is Chief Joe Kelly from the Yardley Borough Police, inviting you to tune in to our Bucks Blue Show right here on WBCB. The third Tuesday of every month from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll be interviewing local Bucks County police officers who make a difference in our community. Tune in to this very informative show, Bucks Blue, the third Tuesday of every month from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on 1490 AM WBCB and also at 107.3 FM.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz. You think straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
All right, we're back here at the beautiful Ocean Casino Resort with Chris Ermer and our guest for this segment, Ben Jones, the head of BCWSA. We're going to talk to Ben Jones, a human being now, and throw the corporate stuff out the window for a second. Just viscerally, your reaction, Ben, when you came down here to this gorgeous casino. We've been several places in Atlantic City. We're at the hub to a sports book. We're right between the casino and the sports book. Beautiful neon architecture, 1 million TVs with games, baseball, soccer, a crawl that you can see, people playing all kinds of games, and everything else in the world, just the sheer people. What's the first thing that hits your senses when you're down here where we are now?
Is this Atlantic City?
Looks like Vegas, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what, I've been to Vegas as you have, I know, and we've talked about that. But in terms of casinos, this is an amazing casino. And you know what? You get here, you don't have to leave here. It's amazing. I mean, in terms of the quality of the amenities, it's just top. And it's tops. And the bottom line is that you are really going to find it hard not to find a better place to go.
Chris,
just about anywhere.
What strikes you right away here? When you were setting up today, what visually caught your eye?
I guess the lights. I mean, the TVs are flashing, and it's pretty eye-catching. And there's a ton of them. It's like
there are a ton of them, and they're bigger than your TV at home, unless you have a home that I'm not aware of. 20, 30-foot screens here.
Yeah, it's a great place to come and watch a game. Obviously, you're gambling on it, and you can sit here inside and watch each and every game. I can only imagine. I'm a huge college fan, as you know, as well as a pro fan, but college fan, seeing multiple games on at the same time in this environment, it'd be amazing. It's a sports fan mecca.
It's a paradise, and I'm gonna do what the good interviewer does and respond to what my interviewee just said. Chris, you can chime in on this as well. Big college football fan. This week, Colorado, Oregon, a couple other games in the Pac-12 that are big. But the big one, Saturday night at Notre Dame. The Ohio State Buckeyes ranked in the top 10, 5th, I think, this week. Visit Notre Dame, 2 undefeated teams. Ohio State, obviously, they are who they are. Ryan Day, Freeman, Notre Dame's coach, went to Ohio State. Biggest college game of the weekend. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're going to really find out what kind of a team that Ohio State has, and also Notre Dame. Notre Dame's always a sleeper. I'm a Notre Dame fan and a Penn State fan, and the two don't generally go together. But nonetheless, in this particular case, I think Notre Dame has got the ability to play a stable and solid game. We're going to find out whether or not Ohio State is living off its reputation this particular week, and I like Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame by 3. I don't know what the line
Ohio
is.
State's
I don't
by
pay
3
for
and a
it.
half.
Okay, all right.
On the road.
All right, and there it is.
And their quarterback, by the way, Ohio State's quarterback, Chris Drummer did a lot of high school football games in our area.
Yeah.
Their quarterback, Ohio State's quarterback, Kyle McCord, quarterback at St. Joe Prep, throwing to his high school receiver, Marvin Harrison, who's going to be one of the top couple picks in the draft next year from St. Joe Prep. So a little Philly angle to that as well.
That always spices things up a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to have Ben's take on Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders and the changing landscape of NCAA football right now. We were talking about it a little bit ago here on the show.
Well, I think a lot of people doubted what Deion was capable of, but what Deion's capable of is making things happen, and he always has been. And he's made a lot happen very quickly. And
that's for sure.
You know what? Everybody's going to sit there and say, oh, okay, well, it's his son. Yeah, his son's extraordinarily talented, and as was his dad. But, again, most importantly, they're looking at last week's game and saying, well, Colorado State. It's a rivalry. I mean, and, it's like us playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh could be lousy.
Who's
we
us?
could be that. What's that?
Who's us in this case? Notre Dame or Penn State?
The three of us. We're going to put on helmets and pads.
There we are.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I think Deion Sanders is the real thing. I think that, what did he have, 80 people he replaced? Somewhere
basically
in there,
the whole
70,
team.
80, yeah.
He basically showed up at a meeting and said, we don't want you here.
That's right. Take your transfers.
They were 1-11 last year, and look what they're doing now.
All right, as Paul Jolovitz says sometimes, get out the crystal ball and look into the future and tell me if you think Deion Sanders' desire to coach at the NCAA level is going to wane when his son moves through and he's going to move to the NFL, or he's not long for Colorado is what I think. What do you guys think about that?
Just before I let Ben answer that question, but he has two sons, not one, playing at Colorado, and obviously you want to see your sons do well.
Well, the question extends to once the family moves through the pipeline.
Right.
Ben, you got to bet here at the sports book. Somebody's made the line a half for the amount of games Deion Sanders ever coaches in the National Football League. You betting over or under right now?
I guess I'd have to bet over. I mean, my opinion is that I think he's going to be there. I think he's going to do some good things. Coaches bounce around. Look at Bill O'Brien. I mean, great example. Started off Penn State, went to the Texans, and, he bounced around a little bit, and now he's back.
Went to Alabama.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Saban, wherever he goes to rejuvenate their career, and now he's back with the Patriots, yeah?
We're not going to talk about
who?
Oh, my God, Saban. Okay, we're just going to leave that one alone.
His team's not in the top 10 this week.
Well, they shouldn't be.
Happy. No, they shouldn't be. You're right.
No, they shouldn't be.
Guys, teams are ranked, basically, guys. We were talking about this earlier a little bit. Teams are ranked based on what they did last year a lot.
Yeah.
Georgia, number one. Obviously, they won the national championship. And obviously, you have that in your visual, in your memory to remember. But if rankings were only for this year, and the BCS rankings don't come out for the first time till November, first week in November, if teams were only judged on what they've done this year, if I brought 100 aliens, Ben, from another planet to watch college football and right now said, based on what you've seen this year, who are the top teams? I think Texas would be number one.
Yeah.
A lot of other teams would be right up there, not otherwise. Alabama, who can't find a quarterback.
No.
I mean, they may be great down the road, but Georgia stumbled a little bit against South Carolina next week. How do you feel about the national championship and how it's arrived at in college football?
It's kind of like golf when you come in and you have so many strokes that you're given, and then you work down from that. If you won so many tournaments, the answer to that is you don't know who's going to show up, and we have the same thing right now. I mean, Georgia had some stumbling last year too. The reality is that I think right now they're not playing as a number one team, for sure not. Texas is amazing. Okay, I think that they're out there, and I think that's why. And Penn State had a good quarterback.
Good quarterback.
He did not do so well last week. Their defense kind of pulled them out. And again, in the NFL, if you're watching games right now, there's a lot of folks that are starting to look like D3 football teams from college, where there's so many fumbles and the next one's a fumble back, and that's not good, solid football yet.
No, but what is good, solid football, just led my mind to something that probably is going to make you angry at me, but that's okay. Your favorite college football team, Penn State.
Yes.
Your favorite professional football team, the Eagles. Mm-hmm. The Eagles have an arch rival from the state of Texas called the Cowboys, I think, whose best player, and maybe the best player in the NFL right now,
I know,
went to Penn State. What's your view of Micah Parsons, or when your favorite kind of college player goes to a pro team you despise? How do you handle that?
I respect what he does, and honestly, the man is almost superhuman right now. At the level that he's playing, I mean, Dallas may have a team that Jerry Jones has been waiting for, despite the fact that that's not something I want to see. And as far as Penn State is concerned, the affinity for Penn State goes deep for me. I was, as a kid, going to the games constantly, and the coach, believe it or not, was actually a summer employee of mine at BCWSA.
Which
Jim
coach?
Franklin.
Really?
Yeah. So he was working his way through college at that time. Yes, I'm old. I know.
Wow.
Don't say it.
All right, Chris, you're the high school guy around here. You do high school games for WBCB. You've been doing them for a number of years. You do a great job with play-by-play. Somebody thinking, all right, who are the high school teams in our area who are doing something, making noise? Maybe the sleepers coming up this year. Give us a little high school report if you could.
I mean, last week's game, Pennsbury got taken out by CB West. They were the preseason favorites in the SOL National, and they look like their teams are going to have a tough time stopping that running attack. They lost their quarterback in the offseason, Cooper Gans, and they replaced him with another Cooper Taylor. And this guy was running all over Pennsbury. Yeah, I guess so. It's working for
Sure.
CB West.
Wow.
And then this week, Pennsbury taking on CB South. They're also 4-0. But the Falcons are kind of a sleeper team. 2-2 right now. They played CB West tough. It was 20-3 final. But they kept it low scoring. They couldn't get the offense clicking. They had a costly fumble. So we'll see how that all plays out. On the Catholic side of things, or Catholic school side, we do a lot of Commonwealth-Egan Catholic action, and they're 3-1 going into a big game against Lansdale Catholic, one of their rivals, fellow 3A school. And how that plays out could, give the Eagles a path, the Commonwealth-Egan Eagles a path to a Philadelphia Catholic League title this season.
All right, it's Thursday. People getting ready for the weekend. What can people do that may want to listen to a little high school gridiron on WBCB this weekend?
Well, Friday night we got a couple of games. Neshaminy taking on Abington. That is at Abington. And Pennsbury is at home back at Falcon Field. They host the undefeated CB South Titans. And those games you can catch on YouTube, just like today's show. All of our content now at youtube.com. Just search WBCB Sports. Of course, you can catch the High School Coaches Roundtable show. That's Wednesday nights from Sandy's Beef and Ale. And we get the coaches and the players, and we talk about the upcoming week's action. That is every Wednesday from 7 to 8 at Sandy's in Langhorne, PA.
That's a good stuff to know. Ben Jones, I have to swear you in first. You promise to tell nothing but the truth and only the truth, so help you God?
Sure.
If you were to
I have a follow-up on the high school, too, so go ahead.
I'm anxious to hear that, but if you were at a football game, whatever it was, a Penn State game, I'm not sure you'd have the influence out there, but if you had influence at a game and your team's losing and you're in the crowd and you had the ability to call someone back at BCWSA, have a quote-unquote water main break, wink, wink, and cancel the game at that point, would you do that?
No.
Okay, so you have some ethics.
Not for the love of the game.
For the love of the game. What do you have to say about high school?
So my son played for CB West right when CB West split from into CB South, CB West.
Back when Mike Patton was winning everything, right?
Well, Mike, this was just after Mike.
Okay.
So, and I knew Mike as well. So CB West has struggled for a number of years, but their teams have always been consistent, and I think they have a good mix these days. This Friday night they play, although not covered right now by BCB, it's going to be a big game, and that's at CB West with North Penn. So that's going to tell us a lot, because that's been their nemesis, as we all know, for many, many, many decades.
North Penn's susceptible this year.
They are, but
yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're going to play tough. So, again, that whole mental aspect of football comes into play.
All right, Chris, let me ask you this. What do people in Bucks County, I don't live in Bucks County, although I'm familiar with the area, obviously being in the Philadelphia suburbs, you're a maven of Bucks County, as is Mr. Jones. CB West, CB East for years. I assume it was one at the beginning. They split up into West and East. Then South came about a few years ago. What do people from the northern part of Bucks County do? There's no CB North. Should there be?
That may be coming at some point in the future if they continue to expand. Probably not, though.
I don't see it. The growth patterns aren't really in the northern section. But again, Quakertown has a good team.
Okay.
And, that's part of it. My CFO, he was a coach at Quakertown for a number of years, so he was one of the assistants.
Good stuff. Bucks County is a bastion for high school football. You can hear it every weekend during the season with Chris Sermon and assorted partners here on WBCB.
Yeah, maybe coming would be CB Southwest.
CB Southwest.
Yeah.
CB Southwest.
They got some population growth down there.
There we are. All right, we have population growth here. We have Mike Quick come on in a
Absolutely.
few minutes. Former Great Eagle wide receiver, now the color man on the Eagles Radio Network with Merrill Reese on WIP. We're at the Gallery, the sports book and bar here at the Ocean Casino Resort. We're having a great time. Glad to be back. Glad Ben Jones brought us back. The Neon, the Glitz, it's all here in Atlantic City. We are back with Mike Quick right after this on All In. Stay with us.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the hot streak and the hot tubs. Go for a relaxing massage and for wild nights with your entourage. Go to play all day and to dance all night. Go for the rooms with the ocean views that go on forever. Go for paradise with a pair of dice. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older. Party responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
Learn everything you need to know about your health during Capital Health Watch with Dr. Stephen Vanny of Capital Health Primary Care Newtown. Listen to Dr. Vanny the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 1 o'clock on WBCB, 1490 AM and 107.3 FM. Call in with any health-related questions at 215-949-3232.
Tune in to 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM for Jolly and the Loon, Fridays 1 to 2 p.m. Join hosts Paul Jolovitz and Bill Warndell for the most engaging, energetic, and entertaining sports talk show anywhere live from Capital Health's Hopewell campus and Puss in Boots Tavern Friday. Paul and Billy will take you around the world of sports and have some of the most notable sports names anywhere join them. It's Jolly and the Loon, Friday 1 to 2 p.m. right here on 1490 WBCB, 107.3 FM, and online at WBCB1490.com.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz. You think straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
All right, back here, Paul Jolovitz with Chris Summer. Mike Quick's joining us in a few minutes. We're absorbing everything that's going on here in this wonderful sports book and entertainment complex called the Gallery with a ticker running about. And
you know, the royal flush is when you had too much Burger King.
Too much Burger King. There we are.
All right, ho.
Oh, ho.
Ho.
Oh my gosh, we're degenerating here. But one thing I forgot to bring up, Chris, to you. And it's an issue it's an interesting issue. Scott Rowland is being put into the Wall of Fame tomorrow night by the Phillies in their game against the Mets. The Wall of Fame earlier this year, he could not attend. They accommodated him with a special day. Tomorrow night, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame this year. Not a popular player, great player with the Phillies in the late 90s, early 2000s. Chose to go in as a Cardinal to the Hall of Fame. Kind of put everything in the Scott Rowland blender and tell me, I love Scott Rowland. Do we worry too much about whether we like someone in Philadelphia? And what did Scott Rowland mean to you as a fan?
Yeah, I think we worry too much about that as Philadelphia sports fans. I was up in Cooperstown this summer and got to see Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff. They're the two newest inductees. They had a great display for both of those guys up there. And
you went up to that, huh?
Yeah, I was.
Because of what? Just a vacation, or?
We were in the area visiting a former program director of WBCB.
Would he be a Baroli?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we were up there, did the Hall of Fame thing, loved it, and saw that they had a display for the newest inductees, including Scott. Hall of Fame numbers seem kind of fringe to me. Definitely worthy for the Wall of Fame as a member of this Philadelphia Phillies team. And yet we do worry too much about if we like somebody or not. Like, it seems like one of the main issues that Philadelphia sports fans have with Scott Rowland was that he liked to play in St. Louis. And I don't think there's any great, I don't know, no great infraction or...
He just didn't have the personality. Listen, there are certain people who have that tough, go-get-'em, straightforward personality outwardly that Philadelphia fans love. We all know who they are. Brian Dawkins said it takes a special type of player to play here, and he's absolutely right. But Scott Rowland may not have had the Rocky-type personality, but I got to know Scott Rowland pretty well covering the Phillies. I loved him as a human being. He's a soft-spoken guy from the Midwest, didn't say a whole lot. But I loved him here. I mean, the fans didn't like him because he didn't say a lot. Dallas Green got on him one day. He's a great defense player. I think the greatest third baseman that ever lived defensively. Better than Mike Schmidt, better than Brooks Robinson, better than anybody else because of his range. But I think he kind of got a raw deal from the fans in Philadelphia, to be blunt about it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a certain element of Scott Rowland's personality, and maybe you were able to unlock this a little bit further, that he seems like baseball isn't the most. He realizes it's a game. You know, I mean, it's his profession. It's important to the fans.
Well,
at the same time,
too.
Yes, but yeah, I don't know. As Philadelphia sports fans, we want people who are going to suffer when they don't do well. And there's no benefit to suffering when you don't do well.
But he did suffer, Chris. He said many times that Ruly Carpenter, the owners of the Phillies, Bill Giles, needs to put more money on the table to get a team here. He did suffer losing, and he said something about it, and he got vilified for it.
Yeah, I guess the other element of when you're suffering in that regard, as Philly
quiet.
Sports fan, we don't want to hear you. And that, you know, the fact that he shared his thoughts in that regard, I think did erode some of the fan-player relationship. And then this summer, I got to admit, as a Philly sports guy, I don't know what was on Scott Rowland's schedule when they were going to do the Wall of Fame thing initially.
It's odd, yeah.
But, like, move some stuff around, guy. Like, make it happen. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
I heard it might have been a family wedding or some. I can understand how things would take priority over a potential Wall of Fame night, but with enough notice and I don't know. I just felt like that was a little bit lame, but.
Yeah, and it's tomorrow night, and hopefully people will enjoy it. And hopefully people will come around with Scott Rowland. Larry Bowa said he's forgotten bygones be bygones, and hopefully the crowd will accept Scott Rowland and give him a nice ovation tomorrow night. I'm sure they will. Philly fans are the best, and when push comes to shove, as you saw with Trey Turner this summer, Philly fans can come out and show their love too, and hopefully they will tomorrow night. All righty. Anything else in sports that's fueling the gas tank of Mr. Irma right now?
Phillies baseball. I mean, we need to get that top wild card spot and finish the deal. Winnable series, teams under 500 in front of them. There's no excuses. I
mean, teams under 500 they're going to play. They're not in front of them in the standings.
No, right. Yeah. In front of them as far as their schedule is concerned.
7:15 tonight. Ranger Suarez goes against Peterson for the Phillies. Rangers pitched pretty well since he got back. He's a big cog. Topper has announced his playoff rotation if they have to go 4 deep. Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, and Taijuan Walker. Suarez is a big cog to that. He's pitched pretty well since he got back from the forearm problem.
And I don't know. Their pitching rotation doesn't give me a lot of confidence, Paul, when you say, oh, it's going to be Ranger Suarez on the mound. I feel better when, I mean, Zach Wheeler has had a little bit more of a career to count on a little bit.
Can only pitch once every 5 days.
Yeah.
That's the magic of baseball. It's a different team every night because you have a different starter every night.
I'm counting more on Zach and Aaron than I am on Taijuan Walker and who's the other guy at the back of that rotation? Ranger.
Michael Lorenzen. I mean, who's pitched terrible since the no-hitter.
They'll be bringing him out of the bullpen. But even like as those starters are concerned, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, it starts with those two guys. And, certainly, Ranger had an amazing postseason last year.
And if
but he hasn't had a good season really this year.
No, he's been hurt a lot, and you're right. His numbers aren't bad, but obviously the only thing that really matters is now Ranger Suarez this year 3-6 with a 3.8 ERA. ERA is not bad. Obviously the record is what it is. As the Phillies steam toward the playoffs, Bryce Harper clearly has turned it around. Came back pretty soon after Tommy John surgery, sooner than anybody ever had.
Amazing.
But he's got his power stroke back. We were worried for a couple months what's going on with the power. He's a warning track live drive hitter, but he's busted out in the last couple weeks, couple months, and he's the old Bryce Harper now. Do we agree on that?
Yes, and even better. Maybe I go back in time when they were talking about moving him to first base, and I thought, oh gosh, don't mess with his arm. Let him heal.
Me too.
He's been solid. I mean,
very good. He's an athlete.
I've been impressed with the defense he's been able to play at a new position, making that whole switch.
How about the defense in the outfield with Johan Rojas coming out of nowhere from the minor leagues this season, say it never produced any fruit? Well, he shook off the tree, and Rob Thompson looks like he's pretty much sold on Johan Rojas as his everyday center fielder now. He's doing more with the bat than they thought he would. Obviously, Brandon Marsh, Christian Pache, their outfield defense has improved. A lot of improvements to the Phillies this year.
Improved, Paul, but still an issue.
Still an issue because of Schwarber.
And Castellanos.
Yep.
He's had a good season defensively, but...
Much improved, though. As you saw yesterday, obviously.
Again, makes me just a little bit uneasy when... even yesterday's play. How much was going on upstairs with Castellanos to catch that foul ball, spin, turn, and throw? I don't know when the light went on in the postgame. We talked about it a little bit ago that he said a switch was flipped. I don't know what exactly he said.
But that was just such a great example of the mental side of sports intersecting with the physical side of sports in an instant. And in the quote I used, the nanosecond thing, where you have to decide right now, if he catches that ball, doesn't throw him out, he's fried by a million people, including myself, to be honest with you. But the mental side, he just reacted and said, I can do this. It had to happen instantly. He did it, hit 2 home runs. Those are the kind of performances you need to get in the postseason if you're going to go somewhere. From a Castellanos, from a Stott, from a Bohm, pretty much up and down the Phillies lineup is pretty stacked right now. Is the pitching good enough? Is the bullpen good enough? What do you think?
Well, we shall see. I'll give him a shot against any team. But you talked about the outfield defense getting better and the bullpen. What do you think about the job Rob Thompson has been able to put together this season? Last year, the postseason run, I thought he pressed all the right buttons. And it seems like, again, this year, he's made some good choices, and he still seems like he is really well loved by his players. You don't get any kind of, I don't know if you would.
Well, it's a good clubhouse. They have leadership. They have the guys over 30. They lost Rhys Hoskins, who was the real leader of this team, but they got Harper and Castellanos and Schwarber and JT, as you know. And
I saw Rhys might be trying to make a run at potentially being back if the Phillies go deep in the postseason.
God bless him if he wants to come back, and you always want someone to want to come back. Rob Thompson was asked about it on a radio show a few weeks ago. He said, we don't want Rhys to come back if he doesn't have a minor league rehab or simulated games. You can't just come back from being off 6 months and hit in a deep runs of the playoff situation. But if he can get some time, it's a long shot, Chris. We saw what Bryce Harper did. Rhys tore his ACL. If he can do it, great. I don't want him to do it to prove that people can do it. I want him to do it because he can be a viable part of the Phillies down the road. And as long as his mind's into it, I'm fine with him trying, but it's a real long shot.
Yeah, but losing his leadership was a big blow to the Phillies early. It's one of the other reasons why I just think Rob Thompson has proven himself.
I'm not as concerned about players liking me as about getting the job done, though. I'm more of I don't really care about the players manager type thing as much as make the right moves, be fair with the players, but you don't have to be their friend. That doesn't matter to me, I guess.
I I don't see this team having a lack of discipline, so I don't know if he's taking care of it behind closed doors, which I always think is the preferred way to go.
Yeah, there were times this year when I think he had a little bit of a long leash on Trey Turner, not moving him down the lineup of Nick Castellanos. It's always about the team. It's not whether you should hurt a different guy and not play this guy. He said about JT Realmuto 2 weeks ago that you can't really bunt him. It was a must-bunt situation,
right,
in my opinion. Well, JT's never done that at the Major League level. Well, JT has to have done that at the Major League level. Everybody should be able to do everything that they have to do at some point. Not great, but you should know how to do everything. And if they can't pinch hit or doing something, they can. I think if there's one criticism I have, and I like Rob Thompson, but if there's one criticism, he kind of errs on let's not upset the apple cart with the player's mentality. I'm not worried about upsetting the apple cart with the player's mentality. I'm doing whatever best for the team at all times, no matter what.
Well, I think some of that's the public, the approach he takes with the fans, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's also what he says behind closed doors.
True.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting. I mean, looking around baseball, you had to pick one team to win the World Series now, not the Phillies. Who would it be?
The Braves. They've just been impressive. Their lineup, historic. Like maybe getting a slugging percentage that's close to 500. I don't think that's been done since the 27 Yankees.
They're over 50 ahead of the next closest team in home runs. And I want to give you a team that's probably going to surprise you a little bit, who's coming together late in the year. They're in a division race right now, a 3-team race in the American League West. I think the Astros, again, are something to really worry about. If they're healthy, they're going to be very, very tough out for anybody. I'm going to go with a long shot and pick the Astros again to take it back-to-back.
They say success breeds contempt. Well, oh, gosh, that stupid Astros team, ever since they were banging the trash cans, I held a grudge, and then they take out the Phillies. That didn't help as far as my personal feelings about those stupid Houston Astros. So as much as any team, I'll be rooting against Houston.
I always say I'm not rooting for Houston, but I always pick with my head, root with my heart, and I never try to intersect the two. I'm sure I do at some point. All right, it's been fun. You've done a great job, Mr. Irmer. Time for Mr. Quick.
Yeah.
Look forward to it, and look forward to seeing you on October 26th. Of course, we're together at a lot of our Monday night kickoff shows and the like, but you did a great job today, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
No, you're not.
I'm going to talk to Mike Quick, too.
You're going to talk to Mike Quick, continue pushing the buttons. It's our part of the show. Mike Quick is next here at the beautiful Gallery Sportsbook and Resort Casino at the Ocean Casino.
Yeah, Paul, we can take a quick break, and we have the news coming up top of the hour.
News, and then Mike Quick after this. Stay with us, folks.
Tune in to 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM for Jolly and the Loon, Fridays 1 to 2 p.m. Join hosts Paul Jolovitz and Bill Warndell for the most engaging, energetic, and entertaining sports talk show anywhere live from Capitol Health's Hopewell campus and Puss in Boots Tavern Friday. Paul and Billy will take you around the world of sports and have some of the most notable sports names anywhere join them. It's Jolly and the Loon, Friday 1 to 2 p.m. right here on 1490 WBCB, 107.3 FM, and online at WBCB1490.com.
Learn everything you need to know about your health during Capitol Health Watch with Dr. Stephen Vanny of Capitol Health Primary Care Newtown. Listen to Dr. Vanny the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 1 o'clock on WBCB, 1490 AM and 107.3 FM. Call in with any health-related questions at 215-949-3232.
Tune in Tuesdays at 9:30 for Senior Real Estate Planning with me, Christina Swain, with Opus Elite Real Estate. Thinking about making a move? Call me for a free in-home consultation where I will give you tips to help you prepare your home for the market to net the most. Check out buckscountyboomers.com for all your downsizing needs. 215-395-6277.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
Learn everything you need to know about your health during Capitol Health Watch with Dr. Stephen Vanny of Capitol Health Primary Care Newtown. Listen to Dr. Vanny the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 1 o'clock on WBCB, 1490 AM and 107.3 FM. Call in with any health-related questions at 215-949-3232. WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
AP News, I'm Ed Donahue. In an area north of New York City, police say one person was killed when a bus carrying children crashed and went down an embankment. A local school district says the bus was carrying students from Long Island to a band camp in Pennsylvania. At the White House is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. President Biden is expected to announce more U.S. aid for Ukraine for the war with Russia. Some Republicans in Congress want to back off on aid. This is National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
President Zelensky's not coming here like a babe in the woods, not having any understanding that, we have to work through as we approach the end of the fiscal year, funding for the government going forward. He recognizes that that's going to be contested, that there are different perspectives.
Zelensky told lawmakers Ukraine is winning. A tropical storm is expected to get very close to the East Coast. Richard Patch at the National Hurricane Center says it's a tropical cyclone now.
Should develop, we think it's going to develop into a tropical storm with maximum winds reaching probably 50 to 60 miles per hour. We expect it to move across the coast of eastern North Carolina late tomorrow, Friday night, early Saturday.
Warnings are in effect from North Carolina to Delaware. India told Canada to reduce its diplomatic staff and stopped issuing visas to its citizens. It comes after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said India may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen. Trudeau says he's not trying to cause problems.
That's why we call upon the government of India to work with us to establish processes to discover and to uncover the truth of the matter and to allow justice and accountability to be served.
A man has been indicted on felony charges alleging he threatened to carry out a mass shooting in June at a Stanley Cup final hockey game on the Las Vegas Strip. This is AP News.
Back to school means back to early bedtimes.
But I'm not tired.
Fortunately, there's Pure Z's Kids, mindfully formulated to help your child fall asleep naturally when needed. Pure Z's Kids products are non-habit forming, drug-free, and available in liquid, chewable tablets and gummies. Give them the rest to be their best.
Bye, Mom!
Pure Z's Kids, for ages 4 and up. Explore all Pure Z's Kids products at zquill.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
The government says violent crimes against Native Americans have tripled over the past decade.
Okay, Sarah stops pretty places.
A billboard goes up last month outside Hardin, Montana, near where Yolanda Frazier's teenage granddaughter was found murdered 4 years ago.
We started advocating because there was just no investigation going on.
The billboard has the names of 46 missing and slain Native Americans from the Northern Cheyenne and Crow reservations.
If we don't keep moving forward with our advocacy, keep being their voice, this is just going to continue.
Critics say this shows racial injustice compared to the media frenzy that erupts when a white woman goes missing. In 2021, the newly installed Interior Secretary, Deb Haaland, created a new unit to examine these cases. I'm Jackie Quinn.
I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz. You think straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
And we haven't had any drinks yet. Maybe tonight, Chris Irmer and our crew will partake a little bit, not myself, as I don't do that kind of stuff. But we have a guy with us now that may drink, may not drink. But he is one of the great receivers in Philadelphia Eagle history. Guy should be in the Hall of Fame if he had a career long enough. Unfortunately, he was cut short by injury. He is in his 27th year?
26.
26
But
year.
who's counting?
Who's counting? That's right. As a color man with Merrill Reese on the Eagles Radio Network, Mr. Michael Quick. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. You
Good.
guys?
Yeah.
Life good?
Great to see you. What do you think of this place?
Oh, this is a cool place. Now, as casinos go, I'm not a big casino guy, but this must be the coolest place there is. I just think it's really clean. I think it's a unique designed place. The bar area, the sports book area is just really, really cool with the big screens all around. You got a circular bar, and then you've got the screens all around the room. It's just a real cool vibe. This is a cool vibe.
Yep, and the ticker right in front of us for the NFL games this weekend, and the table games and slot machines on the left.
No, I could see like hanging out in here. Well, if I didn't have like Merrill to hang out with on Sundays, I could see hanging out in here and like really enjoying watching sports here, and especially if you're into gambling on the sports and betting sports, this would be a really cool place to do it.
It is a cool place. You mentioned hanging out with Merrill, which you've done on Sundays and other assorted days that the NFL plays for the last 26 years.
Thursdays,
Saturdays.
We'll be together Monday this week or this coming week.
They'd play Tuesday and Wednesday if they could.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah. So what's hanging out with Merrill like, Mike? I've been in the booth with you many of those years. Kind of know the answer to this question myself, but how is it?
Wait a minute. Let's hear your answer.
I think you guys have a great time together. I think you sound like it on the air. I think you can tell.
It's a blast.
Yeah,
it's really it's a treat for me each and every Sunday or Monday night or Thursday night to hang out with Merrill, sit in the booth and talk football. And man, he's just so good at what he does. He's the ultimate professional, and I just enjoy doing what I do. And I'm very fortunate that 26 years now I've been sitting in the seat next to him.
Michael, you can tell, I can tell, at least I think, I'm sure I've been wrong on some cases.
No.
When a TV play-by-play guy and a color analyst don't like each other, I think that comes across. I'm not talking you have to be best friends, but how much do you have to have a rhythm with the play-by-play guy for the broadcast to be kicked up to a different level? Because you and Merrill clearly do.
John, I think it's helpful. I don't know if you have to really like the person to work with. I mean, I've played on teams with guys that I didn't necessarily like, but I knew that I wanted the end result to be what I wanted the end result to be. So you go along and you make sure that you do your part to make sure that you're not the weak link. But I think it's just so much better. You live a lot better when you enjoy one another's company, and I truly do enjoy his company.
That's terrific, Mike. You made a statement 5 minutes before we got on the air that I've heard you make before. We're in a casino now, so it resonated maybe a little bit more. That you hit the lottery when the Eagles drafted you in 1982. It changed your life completely, obviously, in many ways.
Yep.
What's the one thought that comes to your mind when Eagles draft 1982, in what ways did it change your life? I know you could take an hour on this, but just summarize it if you could.
I don't want to take an hour, but quite honestly, I grew up in poverty. And quite honestly, when the Eagles drafted me in 1982, it was my opportunity to do for myself, to do for my family, get my mother out of the government projects and put her in a home. I could go on and on. The main thing is it gave me an opportunity to take care of my family. Now, I knew early on that I was really gifted in sports and could play basically every sport. Didn't know that it would take me to places that it has taken me, but it's a beautiful thing. I'm living the dream.
If you had some other sport, obviously we've seen two sport guys, one we'll talk about today, Dion, but if you had been able to get to the major leagues or pros in another sport, what would it have been?
Probably basketball.
Shooter?
Well, and I could have, it depends on what you call profession. I was a trackster, and I was pretty good in track. I was, really good. Like Olympic track worthy and all of that good stuff.
Hurdler or sprinter?
I was a hurdler.
Okay.
But I loved basketball, and I was a scorer, and I could score, and it probably would have been basketball.
Earlier on the show, Mike, we were talking about how some wide receivers in the NFL have caught kind of a diva-itis
all wide receivers
case. And I was wondering if during your time with the Birds you found yourself in a similar situation that A.J. Brown did this past week, where you were talking with your quarterback about getting the ball thrown to you.
That's it. This is not new. I was always open. They should have been throwing the ball to me all the time.
And did you express that on the sideline sometimes?
Absolutely. And this is common, and I don't think it's such a bad thing that they have conversation about just trying to make the offense work better. Bottom line is the offense was stagnant. They weren't moving the football. And if you're one of the great competitors in the game, and keep in mind these guys are the best in the world at what they do, and your offense is not moving, and you know that if you get me the ball that I can help us to move, and that's the way you feel, and if you don't feel that way, you shouldn't play the game, then I don't think that's like a horrible thing. I think it's like a healthy thing. I think you want to have that burning desire. You want to be that competitor who wants the ball every single play. And AJ not getting the ball very much in that game, I understand him expressing that to his quarterback.
I agree with you in general that I don't think it's a big deal. But optically, and Chris and I were talking about this to fans.
Yep, I know.
Obviously, the Eagles have enough weapons that every week somebody's not going to be happy that they're not targeted a million times.
Yep.
But when you're winning and that stuff goes on the sidelines, I know how close AJ and Jalen are, but is there any truth to the fact that the optics of it matter a little bit?
So the optics matter now because there's a camera everywhere and everything you do. So this happens so much more prior to all the cameras everywhere. But right now with the cameras everywhere you look, you can't – if you scratch yourself in the wrong place, it's going to be on camera and everyone is going to be talking about, oh, did you see him scratch there? And that's just what we deal with now with cameras everywhere you move.
All right, Mike, when you played 1982 from North Carolina State, preseason was a lot different than it is now. You played 6 preseason games a year. Well, that might have changed in 78. I don't know. You'll tell us when it changed. But did you play in the preseason? Did the starters play in the preseason? Did it have anything to do with the sharpness coming into the regular season? And how do you think the lack of play in the preseason has to do with Jalen and the Eagles kind of being a little bit choppy in their first 2 games? Wins both, by the way.
There's no question in my mind the fact that these guys did not play in preseason has an effect on the way they're playing or the lack of continuity, the lack of sharpness in the early part of the season. I think the 6-game preseason schedule went away in 78. I came in the league in 82. I played 4 preseason games, but the way we did it, we played in game 1 in at least a half. We played in game 2. We played I guess it was game 3 where we played the most. And in game 4, the starters barely played at all. So, we played a lot. So once the regular season started, you should be much sharper. But with the way, there's no way that you can simulate real game stuff in the preseason. I don't even care if it's a preseason game.
Or the joint practices, which are
the joint practices are great, but you still can't get game speed.
Yep.
You can't get the emotions of the game.
You said that.
You can't get the energy of the game, and there's so much energy in the stadium during the game. The games are so much faster. Things are moving at warp speed. You don't get that in the joint practices, and the only way you get that is in a real game.
All right, now we're back to games. Anything you see with the adjustments that teams are making with Jalen Hurts that concerns you? I was hoping he was going to pick up right where he left off, but it seems like he also has a little rust that he's got to knock off.
So, is there anything that concerns me about Jalen? Is that the question?
About how defenses are approaching him this year and the results that they're getting.
So, what's really happening is, and I think it's to the Eagles' credit, the way they moved the ball on teams last year, especially with the RPO game, teams spent a lot of time in the offseason trying to figure out what the heck are they doing? How do we combat what they're doing? And teams have come up with really sound ways to slow that down. You don't see these big running lanes for Jalen Hurts anymore.
And remember, the first two teams they played, Bill Belichick was scheming.
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So you've got and even this week, Charlie. So you're going against Bill Belichick, then you're going against Brian Flores, and then now you're going to be going against Todd Bowles. These are three of the sharpest minds in football when it comes to defense and how to slow down an offense. So they've spent a lot of time in the offseason. The RPO game now, they really understand how to take away the running lane for the quarterback, using second and third level guys and wrapping them around on that side where the play is going just to make sure that there's not a running lane. So now it's on the Eagles. It's on the coaches. What's our move? So they're now trying to take this away. So what's our move? What's our next move?
How much of it is Brian Johnson? How much of it is, in your opinion, is just rust that Jalen Hurts is trying to kick off from not playing? And how much of it is a new system? I know Brian Johnson's been here for 3 years, but not as a coordinator, not as a play caller. And it seems like Jalen, that split second, is thinking back there, not reacting. How much do both of those things play into it, in your opinion?
I think it's a lot of, as I said, coaches game planning in the offseason. I think it's a lot of the rust from not playing in the regular season or in the preseason at all. And I think early in the season, this is kind of what you get. It really sometimes looks like preseason football. This is, to me, what you get early in the season. And if this team was clicking on all cylinders coming out week one, that would bother me more than what I'm seeing now. It would. That would bother me more than what I'm seeing now. I just don't think it would be sustainable. I don't think it would last.
I think I tweeted last week that I think by week 5 or 6, the Eagles will show, and most teams will show some level of sharpness. It's totally arbitrary.
That's what I think.
Yeah, this week against Tampa Bay, I think they're going to have a little trouble against this team. 2-0 out of nowhere. I hope they are not taking it, and they're going to say all the right things, Mike, but something tells me that we're going to watch an Eagle team Monday night, that if Tampa Bay shows anything, we're going to hear, we thought we were ready, but we're not really sure we were. Any chance we hear that Monday night? Because this is such an easy team to look past.
I don't think we're going to hear that at all. I just don't think that they're made that way. I think this team, they're still upset that they haven't played up to what they call their standard. So they talk about their standard. They understand what their standard is. Well, they haven't met that standard yet. No. And I think that's where their head is, not feeling so good about themselves that they're going to go and overlook Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got a defense that's going to ball out. That defense is going to come, and that defense is going to cause a lot of problems. And if they're not ready, and I don't think Jason Kelsey and guys who've been around a long time, I don't think they're going to allow these guys to go down there feeling like that they are so superior that they can just show up and beat the Tampa Bay Bucks.
I don't think they'll think that either. I worry that the Eagles may not quite be sharp enough yet. Listen, they're 2-0, and there's no style points in football. The only thing that matters is winning. I'm not worried about the Cowboys. I'm not worried about the Niners. I'm not worried about anybody. The Eagles play their game, and down the road they're going to play their game. There ain't a team out there, to me, that matches up with the Eagles on both sides of the ball. We'll talk much more with Mike Quick about the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFL, about Deion Sanders and much, much more. Remember Thursday Night Football tonight? The Giants are at San Francisco to play the 49ers without Saquon Barkley. Obviously an NFC East team. The Commanders are 2-0. We know about the Cowboys. We'll come back, talk about all of it with Mike Quick. We're at the Oceans Resort Casino in Atlantic City at the Gallery, Bar, and Sportsbook. We're having a great time. Come join us right after this.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Since the day I stopped drinking, my life has gotten better and better. I can't take any credit for it. It just seems that without alcohol, I think better, I'm more careful with money, I watch what I say, I don't get into trouble like I did when I was drinking. It's scary trying to walk through life alone, and today I have that very distinct feeling that I don't ever have to be alone again.
Visit AA.org for more information and download the Meeting Guide app to find a meeting near you.
The Gator, Jerry Blavitt here, reminding you that for all of your fresh baked breads, rolls, pastries, holiday cakes, and much more, you've got to visit the Italian People's Bakery in Levittown at 1142 Woodburn at Oxford Valley Road, and in Trenton at 63 Butler Street in the Chambersburg section, where everything is baked fresh on the premises. The Italian People Bakery and Deli has been the pride of Chambersburg since 1936, and their Butler Street store also has the deli department, featuring their famous hoagies, plus meats, vegetable, and fruit trays for any occasion. That's the Italian People's Bakery and Deli, the pride of the burg since 1936, and also they are located in Morrisville at 317 West Trenton Avenue. And tell them the Gator sent you.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz, who thinks straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
All right, welcome back to All In with Paul Jolovitz. And, coming up, some great restaurants here at Ocean. We are in the sports book right in the gallery today. And later tonight, I think we're going to the Steakhouse, voted best steakhouse in Casino Player Magazine in 2021-2022, Ocean Steak. And meantime, we're talking Eagles football with legendary Eagles wide receiver Mike Quick. And don't forget Amada. Amada here in the Ocean Resort, a rustic, chic, tapas-style restaurant and bar showcasing the authentic taste of Andalusia. And Lee Alexander was just telling me that some news was just flashing up here that Trayvon Diggs, the Dallas Cowboys cornerback, is going to be out for the season. That's a big loss for the Cowboys, leaning heavily on that outstanding defense so far this year. Later tonight on BCB, Phillies baseball. Phillies and the Mets get their series underway. And, of course, you can catch all of that on WBCB. So where'd Jolovitz go? That's what I'm wondering.
Jolovitz doesn't want to hang with us anymore. So, Chris, we got this, man.
Yeah, okay. Where you took off, too.
Well, I didn't know that you were, like going solo.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
I didn't know you were going solo.
Yeah. I was going so low, nobody could hear me. I got all the jokes today.
Everything?
Yeah, well, pretty much.
All right, we're at this beautiful gallery sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort. Dinner tonight.
I had some good Stephen Wright lines from earlier. That was clutch.
You know who Stephen Wright is, Mike?
No.
Greatest comedian on this planet.
Okay.
Totally deadpan.
Okay.
Very unique.
I still believe that this is probably the coolest vibe for a sports book area I've ever been in.
It really is awesome. It's very Vegas-like. Vegas has big, fancy sports books. This is like that with all the TVs, with the people, like you said, the round bar.
I think it was it you or Ben who said, "Hey, you don't really have to leave here."
You don't. Pretty much go here and stay here and spend your life here at the Ocean Casino Resort Sportsbook, where tonight the Giants play the 49ers. Without Saquon, you think the Niners, this is any more than a speed bump for them?
Hold up. You see breaking news in here as well. Look at this. Trayvon Diggs, he's out with an ACL.
Oh, wow. Cowboy cornerback.
Out for the season with an ACL.
That's going to hurt the Cowboys big time. Yep, breaking news right here at the Sportsbook, right here on that TV that's facing us.
You get everything here.
Yeah. Avonte Maddox, a big loss for the Eagles. As big a loss it is. Trayvon Diggs, a bigger loss for the Cowboys, isn't it, Mike?
For sure. He's such a great player. Not even good. He plays the cornerback position. I know you referenced Dion earlier. In a similar fashion, when the ball is in the air, he becomes a wide receiver, and he goes and gets the football. Not a lot of defensive backs do that. I think more of them should, but he plays the position the way I would teach the position.
Of course, his brother Stephon Diggs, who plays for the Buffalo Bills. Trayvon played at Alabama.
Yeah.
That's cranked out. Josh Jobe for the Eagles. What are the Eagles going to do if James Bradbury can't go this week? Does Josh Jobe play outside? They move Bradbury inside. What do you think next year?
How long do you think this concussion thing lasts? It's been 2 weeks. I'm sure he should be able to play. It's almost 12 days.
You hope, but there's been guys out 8 weeks with a concussion, 10 weeks.
Yeah, true. But I believe Jobe on the outside. I think Bradbury would be able to go. But there is a plan, and I believe if they're going to play Mike Evans on the inside, then we could still see Bradbury inside, and I know that Tampa has done that some.
They've practiced with Bradbury a lot this year on the inside.
Yeah.
But Maddox, what kind of loss is that for the Eagles? Obviously a big loss. Out for the year. He has a chance. He's kind of like Reese Hoskins, Chris. If they were in the Super Bowl, there's a physical chance he could be ready to come back, but 99% sure he's out for the year. What does that do to the Eagles?
So I think it does a lot because he could play multiple positions. I think that's the big thing. Maddox could play safety when you needed him to play safety. He could play in the slot, and he's just a do-it-all type of guy. When you're on the outside, you can just be concerned about one side or the other. When you're in the slot, it's both sides, it's front, back. There's so many things that go on in there that you have to be aware of, that you have to be able to cover and dissect and all of these different things. And he was really good at it. When they needed him to play safety, he was really good at it. So I think he's a big loss.
So many things we need to be aware of. This lady's taking a selfie over here with you, Mike. We're going to stop our radio show so these people can come over and take a picture with us over here. We're at Ocean Resort. Come on over. Say hello to Mike quick.
Hi.
Yeah, now the whole family's coming over.
Everybody's here. Why not?
This is great.
Meet the celeb down at the Casino Resort. You're out for a nice Thursday afternoon, Chris.
And it's her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, absolutely. That's good. That's nice stuff, Mike. Tonight, the Giants, NFC East rival, obviously stole one from Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals last week, but lost Saquon in the process for a couple weeks. Yeah. Niners look really good. Obviously, Purdy's back. He's not asked to win games, just to kind of keep the tide flowing. He's doing a great job of that. Their defense with Bosa back is looking incredible. Obviously, there's a chance, because there's a chance when any two teams step on the field, but should this game be a formality for the Niners tonight?
Formality?
I mean, they should win, barring something that we're not foreseeing.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't buy that. Yeah, you don't like Daniel Jones, huh?
I don't know. I mean, he's okay. He's just good enough that they had to re-sign him, and not good enough that they wanted to give him the big money. To me, he's that kind of in-between guy who's not going to kill you, but he's not going to propel you to a Super Bowl either. What do you think of him?
Well, we know the Giants aren't going anywhere. They're just they don't have enough. And even at the wide receiver position, I don't think they're that good. When they don't have Saquon, they're a completely different team. So, and I love the way the 49ers play football, quite honestly. The way they play defense, they're a really good football team. So, yeah, the Giants, there's not much chance that they win tonight. But I do like Daniel Jones. I think he's underestimated.
As a runner, as a passer, as a leader, which
both? As a runner and as a passer. He's not a great passer, but I just think that he has so much. He's a better athlete than anyone gives him credit for. I think he could eventually be a good player, but he has to have the right people around him. And the Giants front office, they just haven't done a good enough job in getting the right people around him. Even look at the different coaching staffs he's had already. It's just he's not set up to be successful there.
Remember, they were a playoff team last year, Chris, 9-8.
It's something we can never see, but I'm always wondering, oh, man, what would this quarterback look like in this other system? Like, if Daniel Jones was playing for the Niners, as a Niners fan, I would feel more confident than this Brock Purdy cat who, doesn't have a pedigree, and they're resting their season. And you talk about putting guys – they got some good guys around Purdy.
If Daniel Jones is with Brandon Ayuk, if he's with McCaffrey, the tight end, Kettle, come on, man. He would be one of the best quarterbacks in football.
You think it's really about weapons more than yourself?
He would be one of the best quarterbacks in football. If he's in a Niners system with Kyle Shanahan and all of that talent that they have out there, he would be one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Fair statement. Let me ask you this directly then. We don't have much of a sample size to go on. You can have one of these guys for the rest of their career.
Who?
Brock Purdy or Daniel Jones? Who do you take?
It's a good question because I'm not sold on Brock Purdy. I don't think he's that good. I would probably go Daniel Jones.
All right.
I would lean Daniel Jones.
All right. By the way, the information the mic's up on the screen. Diggs hurt himself at practice, out for the year. Can happen pretty quick in the NFL, Mike, which leads to the Bears.
I'm Ed Donahue.
Who had a bad week going in Chicago. Justin Fields yesterday saying a lot of his robotic play was due to coaching, which he later walked back on. Their defensive coordinator, who they just hired this offseason.
It was too late.
Well, I agree. It is too late. He said what he said. But the defensive coordinator leaving after 2 games, personal reasons. There's much more to this than meets the eye. I don't know what it is. Does it intrigue you as much as it intrigues us?
Yeah, I just hope that the guy's all right. You know, when people have to do that, generally they're dealing with some real bad personal things. You know, there are only 32 of these teams in the world, and there's only 32 of these jobs, and to just walk away from one of these jobs when it's been a major part of your life
after 2 games,
that to me says a whole lot. I mean, you're dealing with some real demons when you have to walk away from it that way. So I hope for his sake that he's okay, and he's gonna be okay.
Are you worried about the Cowboys at this point, or are they just 2-0 and playing well, and let's see what happens in December?
Cowboys look really good. It's hard to deny that. That's a good football team. But we've seen the Cowboys in regular season and how well they play regular season, and for whatever reason, once they get into the postseason, they just can't get out of their own way. That's one of the issues that they've had. But we've seen how well they can play in the regular season.
All right, the Commanders, we talk about the NFC East. Cowboys are 2-0. Obviously, Giants 1-1. Commanders have gotten out of the box 2-0. Again, not the prettiest things in the world, but 2-0. Ron Rivera's a pretty good coach. You got new ownership. Sam Howell is their quarterback. Kind of like but they're 2-0. What do you think of the Commanders thus far?
I'm not sure what your means.
People are far from sold, but they are what they are.
That sounds about like my feelings about the Commanders. Yeah, so you know that Ron Rivera is eventually going to get guys to play for him, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. But there, too, I don't think they've done a good enough job in constructing their roster. The talent level there in certain positions is just not what it needs to be a successful franchise.
All right, here's one for you, Mike. You played wide receiver. You're an All-Pro 5 times in your career. Wide receiver. Yeah.
Is that all?
You know that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, the NFL this year has got some pretty good wide receivers also. It's become the glamour position. It was back in the day, too, but even more now with social media and the diva thing. Who's the best wide receiver?
Why do they have to be divas?
I didn't make them divas. You weren't a diva.
Why did it have to be? Where did that come from?
Because they
quarterbacks aren't divas.
Not like wide receivers are. Doesn't seem like. I mean, look
Maybe
at T.O., look at Randy Moss, they have personalities. I got divas, another way of just saying big personality.
That would sound a heck of a lot better. No, the wide receivers have big personalities. No, they're not personalities. They're divas.
That's fair enough.
Wide receivers have big personalities. I'm going to start using that forever. Every time someone says something about divas.
All right.
Yeah, wide receivers, we have big personalities.
All right, of the great athletes with big personalities currently in the NFL, who's the best wide receiver in the NFL today, and who's the one that reminds you of Mike Quick back in the day?
So if there's a best, if you have to,
a lot of good
singled out to one guy, I'd still say it's Justin Jefferson. He's just that good. He's really, 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 really good. Yeah.
What is it about him that separates him from the Jamar Chases and all the rest of them?
He's got speed. He's got size. He's got hands. Chase is great, and Chase is in my top 5. But if you just tell me you have only one pick, I would pick Justin Jefferson.
All right, serious question. I'm not joking when I ask this. 3 years ago, forget the Eagles and Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson was the 21st pick in the draft. I mean, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. The NFL's full of guys who weren't the first pick.
Yeah.
It's not apparent when you look at everybody that they're going to be what they are.
Right.
In what area has Justin Jefferson gone beyond what his perception was as the 21st pick in the draft to become the best wide receiver in the league right now?
I don't know, because I thought he was 1 or 2 when he came out. So I don't know how. In my eyes, he was a phenomenal player at LSU.
And he played with Chase.
And they played together.
Yeah.
And so in his early years, he played outside. His last year at LSU, they had him in the slot. And so I think some scouts thought that because he's playing in the slot, that he's limited to a slot player, which is ridiculous. You know, when a guy can play the position, you can move him anywhere, and he can play the position. So I never got that.
All right, who reminds you of yourself right now in this league? Either the Eagles wide receivers, AJ, Devontae, are different than both of them, but give me the qualities in each of them that you saw in yourself, and maybe pick a guy around the league who's the closest to a modern-day Mike Quick.
It might be the young man in Pittsburgh. What's his name? It's almost the same as the quarterback's name.
Pickens?
Yeah. He's very similar, but I think I think I was a little bit of a cross between what AJ is and what Devontae is.
In what way?
Big physical AJ, could go over people and take the ball away, could really strong hands, was good running after the catch. Probably more like AJ than Devontae. Devontae's just smooth. He's like silk. He is to me the artist. When he's running routes on the field, it's like, who is the great one that paints with a brush that's really good?
How about a Picasso?
Boom, there it
There we
is.
are.
He's like a Picasso. He's like, you get this blank canvas and you just put this stuff on it and it becomes, he's that to me. I love to watch him run routes.
Pass interference, should it be reviewable? I mean,
we did that
Eagles
one
lost
year.
a touchdown.
Chris, we did that one year and it didn't work so well. And I didn't like it then, and I thought it was slowing up the game. And you're right. So AJ lost a touchdown.
Let's be honest about
because he was interfered with. But I just don't. I don't think you should have to stop games to make decisions. Yeah, officials are going to get it wrong sometimes, but
I mean, some limited expansion though, where coaches can opt to challenge a call, seems like it would not make the game that much longer. I don't know, some compromise maybe could be found.
So arbitrary though, isn't it?
It is. But that one was an obvious one.
All right. So much to talk about here about the NFL and who's doing what and who's where. We'll talk a little college football as well. When we come back, I want to ask Mike what he thinks about a guy who used to play cornerback in the NFL. In fact, he came in right after Mike left, so I don't think they ever played against each other. One Mr. Deion Sanders. We'll talk about that and much, much more about the Eagles in the NFL with the great Mike Quick from here at Ocean Casino Resort, at the Gallery Bar and Sportsbook. We're having a great time, and we're back right after this. Stay with us.
For the pulse.
and the pools. Go for the hot streak and the hot tubs. Go for a relaxing massage and for wild nights with your entourage. Go to play all day and to dance all night. Go for the rooms with the ocean views that go on forever. Go for paradise with a pair of dice. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older. Party responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. Amada Senior Care is the most trusted home care provider in southeastern Pennsylvania for caregiving and long-term care insurance claims advocacy. For compassionate and personal care, call or text anytime, 215-422-3095. While providing a customized plan of care, Amada Senior Care will treat you or your loved one with respect, devotion, tenderness, and warmth. Visit AmadaBucksMontgomery.com or call or text at 215-422-3095. Amada Senior Care, your long-term care claims specialist. Call today, 422-3095.
We now return to All In with Paul Jolovitz. You think straight flush is what happens when you've had too many drinks.
All right, we're back here with All In. Final segment with Eagles wide receiver legend Mike Quick.
We need some other poker jokes. How about like a full house is when your in-laws won't leave or something like that?
Could be, yeah. There we are with the poker jokes.
That is a full house.
It is a full house. Here we are. Mike, you and Merrill both love football, obviously, and it shows on the air. You both also love golf, almost as much as football, I think. The Ryder Cup going on next week. How much are you into that, and how much are you into golf in general, playing and watching?
Yeah, I enjoy golf. I just don't think that it's so much fun, and there's nothing that I enjoy more than because I can't catch a ball anymore, I can't run anymore, and I can hit a golf ball. So I enjoy myself when I get a chance to go out and play golf.
What's
and
your
I try
number?
to do it as much as I can.
You sub 10?
I don't even know what that means, but I play golf.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good. It depends on the day, though. I'm decent. Some days I'm horrible. Some days I feel like I shouldn't be wasting my time and money playing golf. But then some days I really enjoy it. And those days that I really enjoy it, it makes me want to come back. It's probably like you on the poker table. You have those days when it really just flows and you're like, wow, I'm that dude.
Wednesday night was one of them.
I'm that dude. And then there are days when it just beats you up and you're like, why do I do this to myself?
That's the perfect analogy, Mike. Both happen, and you always say, I picked a bad day to have a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm sure the same thing on the golf course.
Yeah, some days like, why do I do this to myself? I'm out here for 4.5 hours, and I could have been doing something more productive.
All right, so put on the golf analyst hat. Next week, the United States defends against Europe in Rome. They haven't won on European soil in like 30 years. Does Europe have any realistic shot, or are we going to run over them again?
I don't know if I really don't know. I'm going to watch when I'm not playing this weekend, but I have no idea. I don't follow it closely enough to really give you a real good answer on that.
I heard Merrill is a liberal scorer. Any truth to that?
I think we all can be at times. You know, we're not tour guys, so we go out and we enjoy ourselves, and sometimes okay, pick that up. It's good. When it never really is good until it hits the bottom of the cup, but yeah, we do that sometimes.
No foot wedge in your bag?
No, I don't do that. I like to play the ball down wherever it is. I like to hit it from where it is.
All right.
Because sometimes I'm in competition, and in real competition, you have to play the ball as it lies. And no matter where it ends up, that's where you play it from, or you take a penalty stroke for moving it.
Where do you play most of your golf?
All over. I don't have one specific place where I play. I play everywhere. And, I play private courses. I play public courses. I love the game. I go to Walnut Lane sometimes to play. It's a public golf course that's operated by the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia. But it's golf.
Cobbs Creek is being redone.
Cobbs Creek is going to be like when they finish that project. That's going to be a phenomenal project. It's going to, it's a long time in the making, and they're probably at least 2 years out still, probably 3.
3 years, yeah.
But when it's all said and done, that's going to be something that Philadelphia will be very proud of in my mind.
There's something that came up a little bit ago on the show, Mike. Turf, artificial turf, real turf, or natural turf.
Grass.
And I was hoping you could share some of your experiences at the Vet Stadium AstroTurf or whatever the heck is kind of infamous right now. I was recently at a high school football thing where they just laid down a brand new rug, and man, it's so plush and thick.
Yeah.
But then you hear about guys who sometimes will get these non-contact injuries and stuff. So, what's your take on what kind of surfaces you feel like the game should be played on? What's best?
So, without question, playing on a natural surface is the best. And hopefully we eventually get to that where everyone's playing just on natural turf. But I understand the artificial turf or the hybrids now that are part synthetic and are part real grass, natural grass. I think the conversation really started up again and everyone hot and heavy because Aaron Rodgers went down.
Sure.
And it was an artificial surface. The game, you're going to get injured in the game. If it's not that, it's something else. When you ask your body to do what NFL players ask their bodies to do, you're going to get hurt. And not many guys are going to play the game without coming out of the game with injuries and some type of surgeries because that's just the nature of what guys in the NFL do.
All right, can either of you guys name, there's an actual stadium this year, an actual team who ripped out their natural grass and put in artificial turf just this season. Can you name that team?
No.
Chris? No.
Tennessee Titans had natural grass, ripped it out, and put on turf this year for, I'm not sure what reason. I don't know if they had a huge problem with
I don't know if there's a good reason for that. In Tennessee, you can grow grass.
Right, and usually it's 1,000 people on it every day.
I would think about places like Green Bay or something where in part of the year that the grass won't grow. I would think that places like that, okay, well, we can give them a break, but Tennessee, you can grow grass year-round.
Yep, and it's a continuing issue. Like you said, the Aaron Rodgers thing is a big deal about it. Another big deal, Mike, probably been talked about more than anything in the NFL this year. He's taken the world by storm. He was at Jackson State last year, Leon Dion. What do you think about the whole Sanders phenomenon, 60 Minutes this week? His son driving around in a Maybach. His team's 3-0. What do you think?
His son drives a Maybach?
That's what they said, yep. Making about $8 million this year. Shador, not Dion.
Wow.
Michael Jordan just stopped by the way. Not that Michael Jordan, another Michael Jordan, but.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, keep going, Michael.
Yeah, didn't see what
So, I was never, I'll tell you straight up, I was not a Deion Sanders fan.
Because?
I just didn't care for him. But I'm a huge fan of Coach Prime.
I mean, part of it is kind of his big personality, right?
He trademarked Coach Prime. Just the other day, he applied for a trademark for 4 things. Coach Prime was one of them.
I am a huge fan of Coach Prime. And before even Colorado, when I saw what he did, when he went down to Jackson State, and when he started working with the players down there, and I could see, like, this guy is a real coach. This guy really can get to these young athletes. This guy really wants these young athletes to be successful. He really puts a lot of time into them. He's telling them exactly what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Coach Prime is telling these boys what they need to hear. And the more I listened to him coach when he was at Jackson State, the more I wanted to hear more of him coaching kids.
What did you not like as a player that you like as a coach with him? Obviously, different environments, but
I just didn't like that he was like such a showman, and I just didn't care for that. But now as a coach, I like that he's brash. I like that he tells people off, because it's all about his kids in the program, and he puts a lot into those kids in the program. And so when someone comes against that or want to attack him, I love the way he fires back at people.
what about the shot, Mike? And we've all seen it. I'm sure every wide receiver that ever lived has taken a shot like this that Travis Hunter, their top wide receiver, took from, what's his name, Henry Blackburn of Colorado State, who's getting death threats and all this garbage. Deion, I thought, reacted to it in a very classy way yesterday. What's your reaction to the whole situation?
You get those heated rivalries like that, and the kid crossed the line. He never should have hit that kid like that on the sideline. The play was over, and he drops his head, and I don't know how hurt the kid is
Last
still.
for the liver, out a few weeks, they said.
And even with that, the kid doesn't deserve death threats.
No.
The kid,
I mean, the other thing about that hit, though, too, Mike, that he had his head down. It wasn't like it wouldn't have been a targeting. It was a little late, but it wasn't egregious. When I look back at that play.
Because it took too long. I just think that it was way after the play. Should have been over. You had plenty of time to stop and not lower your head and make that hit. You could have veered out of the way. You had that much time. So the kid should be penalized if it's a game suspension or something. I think they should do something about it, but he doesn't deserve death threats.
No.
If you take away a game, I get that. I thought he should have been ejected from that game and maybe suspended a game, but that's as far as that should go. I mean, it's football. It's what happens.
We just got a few minutes left here. You've obviously been connected with, and I assume friends with, for a few years, Jason Kelsey, who's a pillar of the Philadelphia community, with the Eagles, with his speech at the parade. He's become one of the most respected athletes in Philadelphia. Amazon Prime just did a documentary on him, produced by Connor Barwin, his ex-teammate, both the Eagles and Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the documentary, and just give us any vibe on Jason or the whole Jason Travis vibe?
Yeah, have you met Taylor Swift?
Yeah,
He's hung out with her, right?
Listen, the story has gone beyond Jason now. It's about Travis
Now
and
it
Taylor
is.
Swift.
Yep.
So, Kelsey is one of my favorite guys that's ever played in Philadelphia, for a number of reasons. Of course, the iconic speech after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, that'll live on forever, long after Kelsey's gone. The way he plays the game, the way he's such a smart football player. When you've got a young quarterback, he is the guy that you rely on to set the protection, to allow the quarterback to understand what's going on the other side. He's like having a coach there. He spends a lot of time with Jeff Stoutland, and I think at this point he could finish Stoutland's sentences because he understands the game just that well. He
and
could
he is
coach
kind of
the
a coach
game.
to Cam Jurgens now, the first-year kid
No
playing out of
question.
position,
No
right
question.
guard. Yeah.
And you need a Jason Kelsey, but he's just such a great young man in my eyes. And the documentary tells you a lot about who he is. Not only that, it tells you a lot about the family dynamics, he and his wife, his kids, and what they're dealing with. And I think it's a documentary that anyone who has loved ones that play football, you probably should watch. And especially guys who play in the NFL, and at some point they're going to be in the latter stages of their career, and they're dealing with a lot the things that Jason's dealing with now, a lot of the things that I dealt with at the latter part of my career.
Like what?
Like when I'm having to take pain meds just to get through a practice. I'm not talking about a game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about practice.
All right,
and,
AI.
What, Alan?
And so there's too many times that because of the knee problems that I had, and I'm sure the vet turf, contributed to that quite a bit. I had to just take meds just to get through practice so that we could time up, so that we could have our rhythm together. I wasn't going to practice very much in that last year, but I needed to get some practice in with the quarterback just so that we're on the same page. To do that, I had to take medication. So you have a lot of guys, and especially like Jason, when you get to that stage, you feel for them. And so you start to learn and see some of that stuff. He actually pulls back the cover from some of the things that's happening in his life and let people that don't have any clue as to what NFL players go through, allow them to see some of what's behind the curtain.
His wife was a big star of that as well. Travis and Taylor Swift will leave for another day, but give me some, Mike. We only got a couple minutes left. Couple things. NFL's 2 weeks in. Week 3 starts tonight. One thing in the NFL that after 2 weeks you're going, wow, and another thing you were going, scratching your head and going, huh? Are those a couple things there for you?
I'm not surprised at anything I've seen so far. I'm not surprised that some teams look really sharp, but then you have teams like the Eagles who really look like they're in preseason mode still, that they're still working out the kinks. That's probably one of the main topics of conversation right now, but I'm not surprised by any of that. The Cowboys, to see how well they're playing right now, maybe that's a little bit surprising, but they look great.
Played 2 teams so far, but every team in the NFL is in the NFL, and you got to do what you got to do. I'm actually happy where the Eagles are because they haven't played their best football. They are not sharp. They're going to get nothing but better, and they're still 2-0 right now. That's a great thing, isn't it?
They're 2-0, but it's hard to, if you listen to talk radio, it's hard to, and you come from somewhere else, and you don't know the score, and you don't know their standings, and you listen to people talk about the team, you figure, oh, well, they must haven't won any games. Well,
2-0.
They haven't lost any games yet.
What about one of the things today we were talking about on talk radio is the Eagles got to become more of a passing team. Listen, this is a passing league. We all realize that. We all know that. We all know Jalen with a new coordinator. To me, you got to do you don't have to pass the ball. You don't have to run the ball. You have to do what that game dictates to win the game and then move on to next week. You may have a DNA about you, but you have to adjust at the time if something's being taken away and the like. Do you basically agree with that philosophy?
Well, they are a passing team, Jolly.
Yeah.
But when
with 2 wide receivers like that,
yeah, but when that's being taken away from you, then what's your next move? You know, if you can't hit them with the left, then hit them with the right. You have to make sure that you have an alternate plan on everything, regardless of what they're doing. And personnel, you got to have an alternate plan. There's always a contingency plan in the National Football League because things happen. And when you go against these defensive coordinators and they're not going to give you plays down the field, they're not going to let you throw the ball, they're going to rush 3 defenders, they're going to drop 8 men in coverage. There's nowhere to go with the football when you're trying to pass it. You run the football.
And you got a guy that's Offensive Player of the Week in the NFC, and they can do that, as Nick Sirianni said. They have the luxury with that offensive line.
Oh, hey, not a major issue, guys, but I'm wondering how the Eagles, in my eye, screwed up the whole punter situation. They had a guy in to, compete for the job, right, with Aaron Sippos. Yep. I guess the guy didn't win the job, obviously.
Nope.
But aren't there other guys around the league? You know, you mentioned that there's only 32 of these kind of jobs. I'm surprised that there weren't better options even after they cut Sippos.
And if you could chime in with this, is Matt Araiza an option, the kid from San Diego State? You know about him, right?
Well, didn't they just sign? So, Sippos got released.
Yep.
You know they just signed a punter.
Yep.
That'll continue to happen. So punters are people that are out here right now. They have regular jobs, but they go work out and they punt all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if next week there's another punter that they bring in just to see what he has. That's one of these fluid positions that you can change on the fly.
But nobody has brought in the kid who was up on rape charges that they ultimately decided not to prosecute, not to charge him with them. Averaged 52 yards a punt his senior year. Obviously the greatest punter in NFL and in college football history, won the Ray Guy Award. Are you surprised he hadn't gotten a bite from anybody?
Well,
Must be something.
If he hasn't gotten a bite from anybody, there's a reason for that.
Something behind the
so
scenes.
So all of these teams now, they do their due diligence.
Yep.
They look into your background. They may even get to your grade school teachers. They look into your background to make sure that their investment is a safe, sound investment. And if no one's signing this kid, there's a reason why no one's signing him.
All right, that's well said, Mike. And that'll about do it for All In this year. Back next on October 26th, right here at Ocean.
Which is also this year.
It's also this year,
is good.
this week, yeah. You'll get the point, Chris. It's just a complicated language. It's English for you. We've been trying to throw our way through it the last couple hours with Mike Quick, who we enjoyed so much. Chris Summers produced this fine program. Also co-host today, Gus Barber, back at the station, did a great job. We're glad to have Ben Jones and BCWSA on board. We're here at Ocean Casino Resort at the beautiful gallery, the sports book, the bar. It is terrific. Come on down here.
Lee Alexander.
Lee Alexander from WBCB has chimed in a bunch and has made this whole thing possible. Thanks again to everybody. It's been a blast doing this. We're back from the pandemic. We're going to move full speed ahead. October 26th is our next voyage. That Thursday, we'll be right back here at Ocean Casino Resort. For Chris Sermer and Mike Quick, I'm Paul Jolovitz for All In. Have a great night, everybody. Go Eagles, go Phillies.
Go Birds.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at
Parking pass, yeah. Can we get you later this year to do our show with Damo and me, the Monday night show too? Where do you do it from? Not so hot. Where you came last year? We'll call you. Yeah. I'll have my people call you up here. All right. Yeah, just let me know. All right. Thank you, Chris. Great job. Nice parking.